If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello everyone, good morning.
Hello.
Okay, so whatever we discussed in last week's session, I hope everyone has gone through. So honestly, tell me if you have something tried out, like at least go through the documentation which we talk about SDK, and did you face any issue while doing any kind of practice so far? Um it will be helpful for me to understand like where are you standing, like in case if you have any issue during a development, you might have tried something, you might have got some error, anything like that you might have faced, then of course please let me know, right? So uh, or if you don't have any issue, then I will assume like everyone is good, and you have done everything and practice well, right? So be honest, I mean, if you have not done, then please let me know, so that if anything you need to rediscuss, is welcome to do that, not a problem. Okay, so before I start, so any questions, any doubt you have as per the previous classes, then please let me know, right? That will be really helpful. Okay, so I hope everyone is listening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hi, Manu.
Hello, Bhavik. Tell
Yes.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, was just having one query regarding like assigning the model value to the control. It's like we are using okay, greater than symbol and then like a slash and greater than, like when do we
That's the
use
path.
it? Yeah, like how do we determine like when do we use like slash, or when do we use the greater than symbol, or it's like when it is array then we should use greater than, or it oh,
No, no,
like
no. See, greater than a slash, whatever sign you see, right? That is actually a path. Uh, it's fixed. Like this is generally comes when you have defined model name. Okay. For
okay.
example, if you are just setting a model without name, right? Means that you are just setting a data directly to the view, right? Without giving any
Mhm.
name. In
Yes.
that scenario, remember yesterday, last session, we were doing some element binding. If you guys have remember, right? We gave the path, but during the binding, we were not giving the path of that model reference. So what was happening? Because you are not giving the path of model reference, because you have given some name, right? So the moment you have given the name, you need to provide that name, model name reference. So that is the, you can say, the fixed. I mean, if you have any model, if you want to provide the it has to start with greater than a slash. After that, whatever your slash will bring down the your steps, it will break down the, like what are, how many structure you have. Like if you have, okay, let me share my screen. Hope everyone has joined, and we can just recap what we did last time, and we'll try to and see. So Bhavik has some question, I'm just trying to explain him. Okay, so if you guys can see my screen here, I'll just share my screen. Okay. All right. So if you see Bhavik here, which we discussed in the last class, like if you see here, this is the model we have given, right? When you define the model, right, we
Mhm.
given the name here, right? View model, or any model binding if you are doing it, right? So this model, if you are taking this reference, right? So there's a way you can also directly, you can just do this dot get b dot set data something blindly. So this data will be available somewhere something blindly in your view. Okay, that's, I mean, it's not a right practice that you should just keep the data in view, but you will not have a right reference. So that's the reason why when UI5 is recommended to have your named model. You give the name to your model, and then this is the path you need to follow whenever you see any data binding. So what we do, we give the name of the model. which is already available is set in this view. Now you are calling it by the name of the model which you have already defined. And then this is the path which we are giving it to my this local model. Suppose if I didn't have this path, right, intro, let's say, then you don't need to provide this part, right? But but this path, what you see, right, this binding, this is important. This has to be there, but this is fixed. I mean, you can say that this is syntax, I would say. Okay. And then this is your model which you are referring to, this property what you have already. And inside this, these are the property you are mentioning, right? So since these all data belongs to your model, named model, so this part cannot come again alone. We have seen this, right, error and scenario, like when you just pass just normal this part, it will not come. It will not come. Why? Because you have given the name to a model. If there was no name was given, it would have worked. Okay, so this scenario, whenever you have named model, which is the recommended design principle, whenever you develop, you should have your data model reference. All right. Secondly, if you see here in normal property binding, what you suppose, for example, let's say this slash defines your path. So for example, one of the place we have tried here, right? So let's say this path I have here in intro. So intro is one of my path, right? So it's now this model inside, you are here now. Now you want to get this, right? So this is your next level path. So that's why you have to define here, that path slash and whatever first name here. So this is how it works. So this slicing is your path. Okay, where it defined. And this greater than sign is your, you can say that whenever you have model, so this is kind of syntax which you have to always follow that. Hope it's clear, right?
So whenever it is model, need to give greater than sign.
This is the, I mean, you can say fixed syntax that you cannot change. Like in your Fiori UI5 development, this is the syntax of anything you want to. I mean, whenever you want to make something, then you have to use such notation or with respect to your data model when we are defining it, or anywhere you are using it. If you have something without the name of your kind of data model, suppose you set some data randomly somewhere else, right? In that scenario, it may not you to require that kind of, probably I would say that path. But anyway, I told you, as per design guidelines, we should not do that. We always have a named model, and you will be always 99% you will be going to see in your Fiori apps or wherever you have to follow this kind of data binding and modeling. So that's very important.
Okay. So with model, we are giving this greater than sign, but for path, it's just slash, right?
Yes, slash means it's drilled on the path. So first level of path, second level of path, that's it. Here you see, here you have defined already the your root path, so you don't have to provide the path here because it's already inside. So now you are giving, because this is the elements binding. So elements binding means this path is automatically, this slash, right? This part is getting automatic taken care by the element binding, whatever property it does basically, right? The purpose of element binding. So whatever path you binding defined, after this binding just follow that this slash path, you don't have to mention here. But you can, of course, you can mention if you don't have any model name. In that scenario, you have to, or probably without slash also, you have to refer that part.
Okay.
Got it?
Understood.
Okay, so anybody else has tried something? So only one person. Anybody? Steak, Vanita, Hector, anybody? Have you tried something by your side? At least have you gone through the, yeah, at least have you gone through the, like SDK? Have you tried something from your
Yeah,
end?
right now I'm just refreshing my JavaScript through the
Mm-hmm.
link which you have provided us.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, so I just thought, while you are, telling us, so I should first finish the basic concepts of JavaScript and
Mm-hmm.
then start with the development so that all the syntaxes are understandable to me. Yeah.
That's fine, but I mean, you can do parallelly because right now we are not doing any high heavy, right, coding of. See, generally, what JavaScript why we are mentioning you here, because you should know. Let's suppose example I have mentioned here var, right? So you already know also in ABAP also you declare some kind of variable, right? So
Mhm.
uh, this thing is you already know. Now this is something you might be for you probably object creation. This is your JSON, right? JSON object
Yes,
creation. So
yes. Yeah.
this kind of things, maybe it will help you to understand how this declaration is happening, right? Sometimes, see, if I'm writing with or without, okay, string quotation, it will still do the same work, right? Kind of like that. So
Right.
that's what the reason I have told you ki you should do it. But as I told ki your Bible is this, so you should always refer this, okay? Because and by referring this only, you will get to know what are the references from the JavaScript you need to actually take if you are suppose trying to do some kind of uh, event and action, right? So I told you, like, if you go to API section, it has given everything. For example, what are the events, right? So if you if you go to that part section, so refer that button, right? And find out what is the events, means the whatever, whenever the user click or tap, means touch screen, something like that, right? So they had given you this kind of structure, like what method it does on the place. Now you can come back to our controller and probably in the documentation section and see how they have used. Okay, so for example, I go to sample, right? So let's say I go inside to button. Why I'm saying ki it will be a parallel learning, because if you go back to just to uh, wait for finishing your other stuff in JavaScript and coming back here, it will be like, I mean, I would say it will be kind of confusing and late for you because you are focused there much, not here much. So you have to do parallelly. For example, let's see, now I told, right, some press event has been written, right? So check for the press event. How this is how we write our function always. So this is your event name. This is the function declaration we always do, and this is the one of the control we are using it. This control again, how what are the property it has, again it you will find out under the API section, right? So if you go back here under the message toast, and then you see what are the methods, right? This is the methods only we have, which is called so or something, right? This is the one of the method available. So you have to just see how it is getting utilized. So do it parallel, right? Something, let's say some for loop came, right? You might have seen, I have not discussed that scenario, but let's say some for loop will come, right? So to make it yourself very much and aware of that for loop, how you can write in JavaScript, basically a looping concept, right? How you can do that. Let's say array came, right? So I want to perform some action on my array, right? So for example, I want to add some elements, remove some element, right? I can to replace some element. Then you go there in JavaScript and then try and see how you can do that. So those things will come in the picture when you are doing some kind of a real good use case development, and that time also you can focus on those JavaScript area and parallel learn it. Okay, parallel learning is will be going to be helpful than I would say going to be learning something directly or indirectly. So don't wait for completion of that part. I would suggest go parallel. Okay, otherwise it may be kind of late. That's my
Hmm.
I mean kind of suggestion I would give you.
Yeah, understood,
So
ma'am.
whenever terminology will come,
Okay.
you explore that terminology more in JavaScript. Whenever it's going normal, just stick to that, not a problem. Okay, that will be fine. I don't think so there'll be any issues. Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
thank you,
So
ma'am.
yeah, fine. So everyone, all I mean everyone is good now. Any other question anyone have?
Hi, Manu. It's- I did something similar to Anita do, because for me it's a new language, and usually when I try to learn a new language, I make familiar with the punctuation and the structure and so on. So I start to read the documentation and try to understand the relation between the other parts of the segments of the JavaScript. So I think for me
Okay.
that works. Yeah.
For you, sorry, I didn't get you. What does it mean?
For me, works that way. I mean,
Okay.
review the information and try to understand the relation of the different segments and so on.
Okay. So, I mean, but are you getting some time to basically go through it and try to understand all the stuff?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I try to understand the relation between the parts of the language and the intuition and how they work or how interact all the parts.
Hmm. Okay. I mean, see, yeah, see, so it's just a suggestion to everyone. It should be like applicable to all of you who is trying to actually seriously learn something, right? So, any training, any learning, if you are doing it, until unless you are not putting your effort, it will be tough for you, guys. If you think maybe tomorrow and day after tomorrow, maybe some later days, you may come up with, like, okay, I can, directly what I mean to say is that you can justly go and okay, I will follow up again, I will go through this recording again, and I will check it. Trust me, you will not be going to do so much effectively later stage now what you can do it right now, right? The reason being, what I am saying is that you will not get actually that, because see, this training time has been already, specified and has been given to you, right? So
Yeah.
I see few people interacting, but it has to be for everyone. And this is I mean, learning, right? Learning journey. So you have time has been given by your organization also and something. So it's, I would suggest you should always think and try that, you should be able to learn that. Otherwise, I mean, you may face some uh later stage. What I'm not saying that you may not be you cannot learn later stage, but right now you have better opportunity that you can, directly you can do that, right? So that's my suggestion. But again, I mean, it's like everyone has to be aligned on that. All right, so fine. So let's start with our now the next journey. See what I'm going to do today. If you remember in the last session, if you go to the material section, I have also provided some kind of important information. I think if you have seen my little previous session, which I have talked about the types of, uh, we had types of binding, right? So anybody remembering what are the types of binding we discussed in the last session?
Yeah, expression binding, element binding that we have discussed.
What
Yeah, 4 types of
actually we
binding we
discussed?
have.
Uh, okay, 4 types of expression binding which we have mentioned. See, it's actually not your data binding. Okay, so remember that. So binding we had only 3 types. Fourth is expression binding. It's basically which we perform in our local. I will show you that part. I have not actually explained you that expression binding stuff. So mainly if with respect to SAP UI5 perspective, so we have a majorly the data binding, which is going to be a kind of uh, everyone, if you're remembering, we had first one is a property binding, which we have discussed yesterday, I mean last session. So when you are referring to a particular property will become your property binding. When you are referring to a parent child control binding, I mean to say that you don't want to okay, write whole path for every binding. Rather, you, let's see, this vertical layout is a container, right? Under this container, or you can have a simple form. Under that container, you have a set of controls available, right? So this is behaving as a parents, this is behaving as a child, but this is not a nodes. Okay, this is a control, right? Don't be confused in the table, because table also we have a parent child relationship, but that is different thing. Okay, so but here what we say here, the one of the container having a number of controls into it. So rather, I mean, this control will also work if I go and do property binding, referring each and every, path by like this. But I want to do one time declaration of a binding path, and then just refer the property by referring to the model. If you have the model, if you don't have the model, then don't refer it. Okay, like that. So something you need to try. So that is your called your element binding, which works with set of control as like container or parent child, like no, like whenever you have relation some container wise. Now next we will discuss about our aggregation binding, which example I have not discussed with you guys. So that is something that we will discuss today. And this is aggregation binding is going to be more important, remember, because aggregation binding is one of the binding which you are going to uh, see in large. Okay, what I mean to say is that in large it means like this is a binding where you will see in the list of any drop down of any value help, or in any table list. So Fiori application, the very first page generally in especially in terms of Fiori apps, SAP Fiori elements application, the design itself, right? Last time, if you remember, I have taken you, I've taken you all the
Manu,
examples. Yeah.
no, I have a small question here on property binding.
Okay.
So what all the properties we use on UI5 coding part, it has to
Mhm,
be the same properties in terms of when we are using any OData model at the back end.
mhm.
Say we have 4 entities with OData services. So it has to be the same camel case name and the sequences.
Uh, See here, okay. See, right now, which we are talking about JSON model, I will come back to OData model also. Of course, we will discuss we have one complete JSON OData. So right now, what we see here, this is the defined in locally. So for example, let's say from OData service, I have got some response which has certain this set of data, right?
Mhm. Right.
So if I am writing, like, see, I am defining a model right now in my controller, which is my local client model.
Mhm.
So now I can, right? Because since I am defining again that model on top of that data which I have received, and I'm storing into my local model. So I
Mhm.
can change the property if I want, or I can keep the property if I don't want to change. So both is possible. So best practice, if you
Okay.
are using direct OData binding, then don't change
Mhm.
anything. Then just directly refer to OData binding model. Okay.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
if you want to override some, let's suppose now sometime you will see some property got exposed very a different way in metadata, probably maybe due to programming, or maybe some uh, property naming which have not followed rightly in case of development. So in that scenario, just to, let's say somebody has created g underscore f, okay, rst underscore name, or something nam, okay, underscore str, something like that. So this is
Right.
not a good way of binding here, right? So I mean it's a bad, I mean it's a bad way of exposing your data properties. I'm just giving
Yeah.
you some bad example. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if you are using OData binding, then refer the property. So generally what naming convention we follow, I think we have a similar naming convention in OData also, right? You will definitely have a camel case there also, right? I think every programming having this
I
basic
mean,
standard, you should all do.
I'm just thinking that which way to go. I mean, whatever UI5 properties being used on the UI5 interface coding part, so the same properties has to be used on the OData part in terms of entities when we are
No,
declaring
no,
the entity
that's what
type,
I'm
and
saying. When you are
or it
just
goes from OData to UI5. I'm just trying to
OData to
understand when. Yeah.
uh, OData to UI5. Basically, if you have OData model, then it always comes from OData to UI5. So all the data structure, all the data what you are exposing in OData services, it's all come from your OData service to the UI5. And in the UI5, we generally going to consume that data directly property. We will see some of the OData, action will be there, CRUD operation, we perform gate, right, and update and all these things. So whatever data, if you are using OData binding, then we generally we are not going to define property, right? We are going to directly consume that. So we will have a OData model define our controller, which will be setting up in the top model, which remember one time activity we should always do in on it. So you declare what OData model. If you remember, this is the OData service reference I have given, right? So if this model I have given some name, if you have remember like last time I told you, if you give some name here, data source is a main service which you define your OData model, right? This is the OData path which I have taken. So now under this property, if I have given some name, then I will call it by name, and then that name reference you can put it in your programming. But now if I'm just using directly, so what will happen, this data model is now available to use in your view. Then I mean you don't have to until unless you are not overriding by any JSON model, then you don't have to do any kind of binding change here or here. You just refer OData model is already available, just refer the property. So for example, if I have a table, I will just say my entity reference, whatever is there, I will declare that entity reference, and I don't have to path any model. I will just say this, I will just set my property, that's it. Okay, that's it. Okay, let's say this is some OData model property, like some entity reference, right? So I will just provide my entity name here without any model. Okay, and it will just going to, let's say, some kind of entity. So just that I will show you definitely in our one of our session with OData, and then you just have to refer the property, that's it, nothing else. Okay, so that's the way of doing for OData and for JSON. But again, I told in a very, I think, very earlier classes, like OData model also you can convert back into JSON if you have a lot of modification to do in your OData, what you receive the data, you have a lot of logic to be performed on based on done data, and then only you display those data in the UI. That scenario, you can still convert back your OData, what data comes up, convert back into JSON model, and then you apply back something like this, right, like that. So it depends on use cases, but 90 uh, percent scenario, if you have OData model which is good and a stable design in your uh, as per your backend design and logic what you have implemented, and you have exposed the entity rightly, then you don't have to do all these things too in the local. So that's the idea of making you aware of first with the JSON, the region being JSON model is this is going to give you some idea how the control is the basic. I told you in the beginning, I'm not going to start with directly highly. That's the reason I have taken the introduction part, right? How many experience you had. So since everyone, so you should not be blank, like whenever you see JSON model, hey, what JSON model came, how it's referring this. So so JSON model is one of the client model, very basic model, how it interact with property, because OData model may be available to you for a big large set of data for table, right? There are some places you might see there is still having a JSON model, let's say some one single property I have, right? So this property may, let's say, the first name of the company will always be the same, right? There's a possibility they maintain in a local model, right? So that's the reason we are starting from your understanding of model, and both the model what we talk about works same, like two-way data binding. Only difference is that it is your client side model, or data is your server side model. All right,
but
so
when we have an a stable kind of OData services running at the back
you should
end.
always go by OData
So
service.
so
Yeah.
whatever responsible responsives we provide to UI5 interface. So maximum of the calculations, if there is a hell lot of calculations involved. So those calculations should ideally go on the back end, and UI5 is just to receive the responses and display the responses, right?
Yeah, right. And then of course you can also perform something, right? Some kind of, you want to make it available, right? For example, you want to make it available for some data to manipulate, right? You want to perform some data things, right? So that is also possible. That's not a point here. Okay, that of course you can
Yeah.
always do that. So that's not a problem.
Yeah.
So you always have that choices. All right. So today the major chunk, sorry, I will be starting with your aggregation bindings. Okay. But before aggregation binding, I will also talk about one of the page design, which is very much common. If you remember, in my last class session when we started with page declaration, right? So this output. Okay, remember. Okay, so tell me, guys, how should I run this at my application? If anybody now right now it's not running, let's say I close it. Now I want to run this. How do I run my application? Come on, guys. How do I run my application?
You can like first npm run build and then npm run start.
Okay, but from where? I don't have any option to write something now. From
And
where I
then see
start?
like
Click
from
on that,
terminal.
Mm-hmm. Where should I
right
click?
click on that Fiori UI5 demo project
Very
name,
good.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
then open
the
integrated terminal.
Terminal. So that is one of the way of launching it. Okay.
Yeah.
But remember, if I have told you ki I want to launch it via some run configuration, right? So if you click on the run, right? If you select this and then run here, it will ask you run with debugging or what without debugging. In all of the scenario, it will ask you to add configuration or open configuration, whatever is available. Or you have another option. If you see here third three dot here on the top, if you say just
thread
run
group.
configuration, so it will automatically will show you whatever is available and what it can be done. So for right now, see Fiori UI5 demo. See, though in my project I have two of the application, right? Fiori UI5 demo and this, but it doesn't qualify. Remember in this, I think second session of my UI5 session, I told you this whatever dependency we have the basically especially about these files, right? These all files has to be either created by default, which generally done supported by your template. If it's everything is present and supported for your Fiori, whatever is needed to run, then only it will allow you to run. But this file doesn't have everything. So right now, that's why if you see this particular application, it doesn't even appear in your see now. If you select now one time run config, this icon will come, this playback icon. Okay, so it will automatically show. See, if that second app or any other app which is supported for your run as per the whatever file structure and required you know uh, information is available, then it will automatically start showing you. So we have to, we of course during doing development, being a developer, most of the time we use this because our debug tool anyway starts here automatically. But if somebody will ask you, can we run from the anyway? Yes, you have to. You have mock server, you have local data model if you have, or you can directly run this. So this will be like a kind of just running your application in your web, right? So if you can expand this, you will see what are the information is available, right? If you see here what are things is running in your C call stack, right? So this you see, and it started with npx only, right? Means npm library it is starting. If you see right hand side, it has already started your debugging also, right? So we have not even started, but it's already started, and you see the app got launched here. Okay, so if you here watch is the one place where you can actually do some kind of uh, uh, put some kind of breakpoint. Like for example, you want to know some particular information, so this watch section will help you to identify some what happened in particular. Let's say I want to check some data model here, right? So this some whatever you are put the some debugger point, it will be start showing here. Wherever is like the area where you want to this all about, see, this is the debug section where you see it's a mention run and debug, right? So everything what you do in your especially whenever it runs here, it automatically launch these things. So if you have some debugger attached to this variable or some action you want to perform, then this is the place also you can do that. But as so this is the one of the build and one of the best feature right now in bash we have with respect to web IDE, that it your auto debug your everything. Like see, it debug your UI5, it debug the Fiori, they debug the npx library, everything. If it's fine, then it will just launch your app, right? Like that. Or other respective things also you can debug and check all the information. It's similar way like how you put the debugger in your ABAP, right? You put in the click and it's put some kind of dot. So when you are when you are invoking the debug here, it will be starting the similar way, right? Click and you can debug something like that. But generally, like similar way like how ABAP is behaving, but in normal web ID we don't have that feature. In general, again, remember last time I told you you can actually do also debugging here, right? So this is a Google Chrome debugging tool which majorly we use here. See, you have, if you go to my personal experience via suggestion wise, so whenever you want to debug any web application, debug here. Okay, debug in this Google Chrome area. Introduction part I have already talked about, but anyway, we will definitely, I told you, right, few topics will be keep going. Like it's not like today I debug and tomorrow I will not be going to show you how to debug, right? So this is the ongoing process. So debugging is one of the process will be keep going on. Whenever you have any error comes up, whenever you want to show some data flow and action flow, then in that case we have to come here. So Fiori UI5 the recommended debugging is here. So then you can ask a question, what to debug here? Yes, you can. If you remember here, this debugging will doesn't have anything, right? Watch video, it doesn't have any information, right? Because this debugging will also designed for, remember I told you there are certain other language also support, like there are capm programming, there is a java programming, there is a other. So capm java you cannot debug here. Okay, you cannot debug here python, you cannot debug java, you cannot debug in this tool. So basically Google Chrome tool is something which is designed for your web application debugging. Okay, not for. So this is something which has been already inbuilt in bash for those application which, for example, capm programming, which is cloud application programming. Node.js application you want to debug, you want to debug some java application, right? So those things will come back here. So those debugging will happen here, it will not happen in your Google Chrome here. Okay, so understood the differences between them. Like if you somebody will ask you okay, what debugging you can do here and all this thing and stuff, so you can of course tell them ki the best practice you should always follow for web application, come and do in the browser debugging, which is your Chrome, Safari or Edge debugging tool, which is already inbuilt and it will be more supported. This is majorly useful for other programming language, especially like Node.js and Java, etc. Okay, that's it. So we will not be going to use much this part. So let's we'll come back here now. So now we see this is done, right? Now if you remember I told you, right, we have certain design pattern which we follow here, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to modify my home page. Okay, whatever I have this, so I'm going to redesign my page. So I'm going to build my page which going to look like more of with respect to current, or I would say the modern Fiori 3.0 design, which is your Fiori elements design, right? So how it works. So basically, if you have seen some of the example which I was talking about, if you remember, I have here SAP dot, or I can just show you like smart here in the sample. We have here a smart table. All right. So if you see the design of the page, remember this is having this page, this is the one of the page, and this is another page, right? This is something called dynamic page here. Okay, now see, dynamic page is of course right now is nowadays is one of the most commonly used kind of design pattern which we everyone follow in especially in terms of whenever we talk about Fiori elements always going to have this kind of design available, right? So not normal page, this is normal page also you can of course design it, but generally which we will prefer, which going forward is more of your dynamic page design, because this is the something which is new design here available. This is something which is more preferable design pattern. Page, what we have discussed, I have already shown you one example, right? That's fine. Okay, but I want to show you something which is the current and the better one which we always follow right now. So page you can use it, there's nothing wrong into it, so don't worry like okay why we are using page and why not this all this thing. It's all about how you are going to design your custom page or something, right? Okay, so like in that scenario you have to always do that. Okay. Okay, so okay, one more thing, guys. So if you want to comment something, you in any way, if you have seen, for example, if you want to perform something to comment it out, okay, then you have to always do select any piece of code and then Control K and immediately Control C. It will be comment out. So this is applicable in your controller and view file also. Let's say I want to comment out this, so I will say Control K, Control C. It will automatically come back. Now if I want to, let's suppose for, okay, so like in Java, like sorry, in case of ABAP, right? So you might have you might have sorry, you might have done such kind of commenting, all this you might have seen in JavaScript also. Okay, so what happened here is, if you want to use some kind of to uncomment, right? So uncommenting the code, commenting the code, there's a different way in web id. If any one of you has gone through this, how you can go and okay, what I'm saying to say, like how you comment out in web id, we used to do like select, and if you have put this, kind of, it used to show you like, you do you want to comment this and something. So they are of course one of some good feature, okay, in web IDE right now, but in generally in bash I've told is being supported uh, in terms of various language. So it has some kind of uh, I mean generally in terms of uh, I mean what I must say, keyboard action. Okay, so keyboard action which we used to do to comment it the code and uncomment the code. Okay. Okay, so this is how, I mean, I have just commented. So now if you come back here, so what I will do now, I will define my page here. Okay, so when I'm defining my page now, what should I do? Like, see, in that scenario, what I can do here right now, I need to define a new page here, right? So if I want to define a new page, what I will happen here? So if you see, I have given you an example. I will go to the code and I will see this is my dynamic page information, right? So right now they have used view, right? So I want some kind of like kind of layout, which is going to be my dynamic page layout. So if you go here, search like dynamic page. Okay, this is the new design pattern which we follow in your, as per our new Fiori design. So if you see, the every dynamic page having two section. One is that this area, which, so 1, 2 and 3, but generally this, if in general if I talk about for a user, it will be like, see, there's small gap and this something expand and collapse. Okay, okay, I'll collapse or expand. So this feature is very important. Okay, so this feature is a new design which we follow in it. Okay, so in my personal opinion, even if you have a custom app, or even if you have a standard app, or whenever you're designing, developing, go through this dynamic page design, because it's going to support a lot of things, like responsiveness is very good, and it provides this feature is like, if you can increase and decrease the screen width, right? Something, and it has some inbuilt feature, right? So that is good actually. Okay, so in place of, and one more thing, if you see the coding of our normal page, you have to write something, right? You have to define sub toolbar or sub toolbar, something like that, to define that, right? Those area. So in dynamic page, you don't have to define those area, rather you use the property of that dynamic page table, just put that things over there. So this area is already defined, so it will help you to also segregate your content. You don't have to rewrite many controls over there. So one area which is your this top area and with the bottom area. So top area is mainly meant for your filter information or something which you want to display in the header section, or just like some kind of notation or button you want to put there. Okay, that's the reason. And then another one, we have something in the bottom which we generally keep large, generally list. Okay, so if you see the Fiori list application, I told you, like, you always have table available, right? So we are going to cover two topics. So one is that dynamic page design, and secondly we will going to talk about your how you can design a table, means aggregation binding. Aggregation binding will cover table, we will cover the some other things like maybe drop down or value help or something extractor. Okay, now I want to see how this coding has been done. Okay, so I told you, always you always go go back to your view file. You always look into what has been, you know, designed and code here. So you see, somebody, any question? Okay, can you mute his voice? Sorry, can you mute if anybody is talking? Okay, so dynamic page belongs to your SAP.F library. Okay, so first thing what I have to do is I have to declare my library. Okay, so I will come back and I will declare my SAP.XF, which is referring to XLMNS colon F. So this you guys, you see after this colon, no, you see some places we have this, some places we have layout. So this is your name. This is again a namespace. Namespace means something you are referring to. For example, you see layout, right? I have given this layout name, so I'm referring this layout. So this layout having this vertical layout. So this layout is actually referring, is a name given to this particular library. I'm referring this library by this name. Okay, kind of, I would say a name is a way of identifying. So similarly, if I'm using F here, so I have to provide F. Let's say I have given here M, right? M library. So M library, see, I have not given any name here, right? I have not given any name. I have to put here colon and M. If I sorry, I have to use here just in terms of M here. So then whatever now, so wherever I am going to use M library control, let's say example, I have M page, I have toolbar. So I have to always refer this M first and then I have to put this. Okay, if you're not giving any name in that scenario, you don't have to provide that kind of information. So generally, this is the large set of control, right, which we largely use. So something which we use in large extent, then we don't give any name, because every time you have to keep referring by that particular namespace which you defined here. But if you are using for some particular, you know, identification, right, what it belongs to, for example, layout, I have used for my layout design of vertical layout, so that's why the name is given. For example, now I'm going to use my dynamic library, right? So dynamic page here, so this is belongs to sap.f library. So this F will be my reference to that particular. So it will just indicate that a particular control which I am referring is actually referring from where? Actually referring from the F library. Okay, so now if you go back here in the F library, if you see, this is the dynamic page declaration. Okay, so now see dynamic page, what it has here. Okay, so let me copy everything. I will just put back here and I will revert back whatever it's supposed to be. For example, I told you always, you should always, whatever control you have, you copy here and come and modify. Now, for example, what I will talk about here first now, understand here. So dynamic page I declared by referring to my library, right? F library. So this ID, of course, you can give some ID or whatever you want to do. This is your ID. Header expanded is one of the property. Okay, now see, this is the header expanded is one of the property they have used here, right? So for example, if you go here, this is, they are referring to the model. Okay, now see here, this is one of the default property they have defined somewhere in your data model. If you download, no, it will show you kind of whatever model they are referring to, probably a mock data or something like that. Okay, so they are referring this property a particular model. Or you see, I think somebody has asked today, right? So you see, this is not a named model. That's why there is no, you will not see this having this greater than and model name. It's not there. Okay, it's not there. I told you, if you are not having any named model, then you don't need to provide this path. It will directly read from the view. Then just slash will give you the information, like what information you are going to get. So this is going to be somewhere it has been set in the view layer. Okay, somewhere in the view layer it has been set some kind of model, and then it is getting referred directly. Okay, so if you see here, yes, you see here, this model has been defined. See, this is, they are referring to a mock data. Okay, some more data file which you, if you download, it will show you that file. So if you see here, there's no data model can name here. You got now. So there's no data model name. If you see set model of JSON, in our case, I have given the name. See, set model, given this name I have given. So if I'm giving the name, you have to follow that path. And yes, you should give the model name. That's the best practice, because you will always have reference which model you are actually talking to, which model you are referring to. directly setting the data, probably it may be useful for some scenario which you are not going to modify, or you're not going to refer that model again or for any other purpose. That is fine. Like, so for example here, right, they are referring this model just to have a data to create this table structure, all this stuff. So that's the reason they have not much focus on that. So they are just consuming it. That's the reason you see this model name which they have given without okay, without any kind of whatever information you have available here, right, with the model name. So without slice, so there is no model name. Now see, header expanded is the property name. Okay, so this property name will help you whether to this page, this particular page, you want to keep it expanded or you want to keep it collapsed. Okay, so in generally whenever you come back to the screen, we keep it true, but you can keep it false also. If you keep it false, what will happen now? It will be in this scenario, it will be always in the collapse stage. User has to every time click on this to see other information. So okay, so we keep it no true, or you can handle it this true and false notation from the controller based on some user role authorization or something, like based on some parameter you want to let's say for some particular condition you want to expand, some particular condition you want to collapse, right? So that's now you can handle it. That's the reason they have binded from the model. So remember I told you in the beginning, do as much as things you want to do it, you can do it by your model. Do not do by just directly hard coding, or do not do directly by referring to your ID. Rather, you do it by your data model. Data model will always be your one of the best way of handling your control feature, control properties, control binding, anything you want to do. Okay. Now see, toggle header on title click. So this is another feature which you see here. This is the toggling icon. Okay, I want this toggling here. I mean, whatever you have something, sorry, not toggling. This is called pin. Okay, something called you want to pin. So this is another toggling action available in this property. Now, again, I told you, if you want to find out more, what are the things it has, you should always go to your API section, go and search here dynamic page, right? If you go to dynamic page, you will see the n number of property, what it does, what is the background design means. It's just a color. If you click on this, you will be saying what are the color it has: list, standard, transparent, list, something. So this is your, I keep saying, most important area of API. Sample will give you information about your controls. This section will give you information about the various properties, because in the sample they cannot use every property, right? They cannot give you example of every events or methods. They just give you some sample, and you have to explore, right? You have to adjust, you have to add, remove the events, property, the method, whatever you want to use it. So simply, but this is the place you have to come here and then check. See, header expanded is something true, always by default it is. Header pinned, which I was talking about, this property is pinned here, right? Toggling means you are going here and there. So in that scenario, it will be false, something like that. So few property which is default already, right? So for example, even if I do not write this true, it's actually always going to be true, but I don't have to write because it's default property. So if something is default, you don't need to code it. I want to change only header expanded is true, whether header is expanded. Yes, it is always going to expand. So that's the reason it's true. Now, if you want to pin some here, okay, every time, this is again a property like pinned means whatever the, pinning means what, like some information you want to always keep it available. So that's the reason with pin. So this is one of the property which is available. This works with the, can be, uh, if pinable means toggling a stuff. See here, this property can be changed programmatically or in the account. Toggling is the pin unpin button. Okay, so there are one something called toggling feature, right? See here, toggling header on title click, right? Whether the user can switch between the expanded and collapse state, right? So for example, this is always true. What does it mean? It means they are saying if user can toggle between these two or not, right? Expand or collapse, right? If you are allowing, if you're making it false, then what will happen? This icon will go off. It will not be present. It will be going to be just, that's why it's by default is true. So you will be seeing this icon. If you are making it false, this is going to be back. This is going to be not be available. So I'm just trying to show you all this property. I will for now I will show you true only, but I will, once the app runs, I will show you if I what I will happen if I'm making going to uh, make it false. Okay, like that. So there are various property. If you want, based on your requirement, you need to show footer is there, right? So footer is false means something you want to display in the bottom, right? Suppose you want to do some information in the bottom of the screen, that is the where you use the footer structure. It else all, I mean, again, based on these are various property you have to analyze, and what you need you have to put that. Okay, now see dynamic page again. How you will see what are the aggregation it has. I told you, you always have the reference of aggregation. You see what it has. First, it has content. So content is going to give you the information like having a footer, having a header, having a landmark, and having a title. So these are aggregation will tell you key this with the dynamic page. What are the things you can combine together, right? So in this scenario, what we have is title first. If you see here also, you have one of the aggregation is called title, right? What are the things it has here? Page title. You can go and expand here. You will see this title will have again separate events available, separate methods available, separate properties available, right? So like that, you have to define that under a title. Now, if you see there is something called aggregation. So now again, this page title, what it all it can be combined. It has aggregation of like action buttons, breadcrumbs, like content we have, expanded content, right? What will happen like if you're going to expand, what are the content you want to show, right? If you're expanding it, you want to change the heading, so this is the property will come. Then we have a heading, right? We have something navigation action. So it has a lot of things like you have snapped content. So read out, okay? It's not like I can just go and read one by one. So try to understand. If you have any doubt, and then you can ask me. So I'm just showing you these are the property how you can keep going inside and find out what is available. So under this I have down title. I'm going inside my dynamic page title, right? So whenever we see such kind of information, you always come here and check it out what are things available. If something is not available, then it cannot be supported. Okay, so now dynamic page title supports another aggregation which is called heading. The heading will be coming under section of your whatever you want to display on the top of it, right? So if you see here example right now, see my app also got run here, right? So see here everything, see I copied directly from here, I pasted here, right? It may not display the data right now, it may not display the data for sure, but it is going to display whatever the structure this page has given me. Okay, so you see what difference you will see if you love what will happen. Let's say I'm going to comment this out all of the code, right? Okay, okay, and this particular part I'm going to remove it back. Okay, now this you see the difference how this look got changed. One minute, something is not commented properly. Okay, 1 minute. So this is how you will see some kind of error. So I was trying to, okay, so what I will do is the best thing is I will just go hello, because see it's already commented here, right? That's the reason. See if something is already present here, it may not, it will see so the reason why it won't apply here, because it's got stopped here because the another commented line already available here, right? So that's the reason it's not. Okay, so if I'm going to remove this, and then again again it will create problem wherever I have this connotation. So just let's see if there's any other place. So it is also here, so I can just remove it right now. It's just a comment. Whenever you want to put some kind of comment here, okay, so it will be coming here. Okay, so it's good for having, okay, for your learning purpose. Let me keep it. Okay, what I will do now, I will just go and just do one by one. So this is my title. I will expand here. So up to here, I can again go and control KC. Now this is done here. Now I will go and footer I will go, and I think content also I can make. Yeah, so now if I have here up to this, control K control C is got locked. Now footer I have, now I can combine all of them. Got the point? Now similar way, I mean, of course you can do reverse also, that's not a problem, but I'm just this is the faster. Now see if in our scenario, now page, if you see, now it's running. Now see how design is coming here. See how this design it is. Okay, now I have retain everything like my page there. I have no such feature available, right? I have different things available, right? So I mean, this is something whatever the dynamic page provides you, which is inbuilt feature, you may have to code it, right? That will be more difficult or probably more time taking. So that's the reason the idea of making this part available by the SAP to have a consistent design for be it your any kind of custom you are making the application or the Fiori elements you are making it. So generally it's being aligned with Fiori elements design guidelines. That's the if you I will summarize in normal sense, just to make it align your custom development also and Fiori elements design also on the same page. You should be on the same page. That's the reason they have given you such thing like that. Now if you come back to various section, what it has, see, title. Okay, remember if I told you, like, if I header expanded right now is already defaulted is true, what will happen if I make it false? You see this area which was there, right? This is the got unexpanded. See here again, I refresh it. See though that the another layer, right, which was not expanded. This is coming because of title. Okay, you see this is your title section, wherever it is coming, which is your title section, header, title and all. Okay, so that is a different part. Title will always be visible, but whatever is content inside that, it's hidden. Reason, this property made it that one. Now see, remember toggle means I was able to click on that button, right? What if I will make it false, right? I'm just showing you how the you can play around with different properties of a control and its behavior, right? You should be able to make it in that way. Okay, see here, that option itself gone. See, I don't have that button, right? One more property it has, right? Dynamic. If I go back to any page, you see these all are belongs to your dynamic whatever various page. So dynamic page it's itself one of the big control which has various control attached to it, and every control like header, title, right, sync ratio, whatever it has, you need to make sure that you can you now see header pinned is false, right? False always. I don't want to pinned always. See, it's always showing pinned. I want to remove this. So now I can make this property as a true, and I will also make this true. So now this button will come back, and this additional button for pinning will be go back. Okay, so this button has came here, header pinned. Let me show false, or maybe there will be one another property false. Then you have toggle on title, expanded, fit content. Okay, this part is called pin header, which false. Header pinned is false. Okay, so this is okay. Something called show header pinned. Okay, we'll see that part. Don't worry. I mean, there will one property to just to remove this part. Okay, maybe from the title or header. Let me see. Some property will be there. Okay, maybe in the header. We will not waste. I mean, we will not more put any time on this. I'm just for your some kind of header expanded is false and true. Okay, pinnable is here saying it's true, right? So I will say pinnable is, you got it. So it's a part of your header. This is how you have to search it. So this is the property name is actually pinnable. What is mentioned here by default, it is true. So I have to make it false. Okay. Now this will not be your this will not be going to display hopefully that particular pin action. Okay. Now what happened here? Pinnable. view problem. What is given here? Unknown attribute key of language assistance pinnable. Okay, they're saying pinnable is not. Oh, okay. So pinnable is not a part of here. Okay, rather it is the part of your header. If you see this part, this is comes under your header. So dynamic page, wherever we have this header property, right? That area we have to make it that property as a pinnable as a false. So I have here breaders come header. Where is the header? Expanded title, page title. We have heading where you have header. Okay, this is my see here. You see, this is the pinnable as a property. So that's why it was coming. Now I will make it false. Okay, so this is the area. The reason being the page was the main content, but actually that property not belongs to that page, but belongs to the header section. Now I made it false. Now it is going to apply. Okay, so see, this is how control by. I mean, I'm not saying that you cannot directly, you cannot everything remember, not even me. Okay, so it's like you have to go and check whether that's the reason you have given this SDK, right? You can go and refer what you can design, what you can modify and all. Okay, now let's come back to the main purpose of using this. So the area of this uh, area, whatever you have bottom is referring your table. This is your header. This is your filter bar. Now I don't want this thing. Whatever you don't want, you can modify it. Let's say I don't want bread scrum. What is bread scrum? See, again, these are various control guys. Okay, so again, keeping all the control reference, there are a lot of, okay, in thousands controls we have. We cannot discuss all of them, right? So it will just by terminology wherever it comes, I will just talk about a little bit, but you need to deep dive into wherever you want. Even you cannot remember all of them, not everyone. So anybody who want to looking into it, they always have to come back here. You have to come back here. You have to go to here and search for your particular control. What is the bread scrum is? You see the list of these buttons right on the top. Even in our app, right? You want to display such kind of button action on the top, right? Then bread scrum is the one of the control which helps you to align some of the action button in one line. That's the where you can use it, right? So for more information, you always go, and of course as normal wise you can just search bread scrum. If you see it, bread scrum is useful for displaying link hierarchy, right? So this is the see link test of hierarchy. You want to maintain it. I don't want to maintain bread scrum, so I just removing it. Got the point, guys? So you have to, this is how you have to keep looking into what other things is possible. Now see again how this you will understand if bread scrum is possible or not. For this, again, you have to go to your uh, of course to your dynamic page. You go to the properties of various page section, wherever it is available, so it will support it. Go to aggregation. You see in the content area, right? You have to go to your title. Wherever it has the property, you can see that if it's what kind of aggregation it is going to see here. So title is the one of the thing which supports your bread scrum. So that's why it was showing it here. That's why it's supported. If it's not aggregation supported, it should not have worked actually. Okay, so that's the reason. So let's say now here I'm saying here my first Fiori app. Okay, this is my title. Now guys, again, so I want to refer this from my I18N. So this is my I18N. So again, this I18N, one of the information which will be keep running, and I will say here header title. Okay, and this going to be referred from this particular I18N file. From here I am going to refer my this header title. So I will go and put back here. So I will everything. Remember that in Fiori UI5 you should never hard code your anything in your English language in your wherever it comes to that, be it your controller or view file. The reason being is ki always your I18N file is not meant to be only maintained in English. Okay, yeah, a possibility that the user belongs to a different region. They can have a different browser language. So your coding, whatever you wrote, everything it's in is English language. Okay, but displaying purpose, this is the file which will make a difference. Okay, so make sure everything, this is the design principle, this is the design guidelines. Okay, so in parallel which I'm talking about, I'm just giving you some heads up on your certain design like how you code, how you you know follow the design guidelines, properties and all. Okay, now this see, now this area defines my
title, which is got my first Fiori app. Okay, now this is another some controls which might be available. So I will see what are the things you can remove or what do you now see expanded content. You see, expanded contents means what you see here. This is subheading, right? So whatever information you see in this area, like see I have information here like something called okay, one of the another content which talk about here. Let's talk about expanded content. So this is the subheading. Subheading means I want this information to be displayed, right? So I want to say here, this is the, I will say subheading में custom Fiori app. Okay, so this is my expanded content. Expanded content means if you want to do something in terms of information available little bit, that you can put some kind of label text, even you can put some button also. It's not like you can only put text. I'm just giving you an example. Now this custom Fiori app, now see, if you see here, there's something called snapped content. Okay, a snapped content means whenever, see, if you see here now I'm showing custom Fiori app, right? Now see, if I'm going to just remove it, I mean, what I mean to say, collapse it. See, you see the guys, see, just focus on here. When when I'm expanded, I see it is custom Fiori app. But when I collapsed, I see this is subheading. You see, this is the beauty of custom, dynamic page layout. What is showing here? When you expand something, you will see some different content. You can show different content. When you collapse, you can show some different content. So now see, in my case, what is happening here is whenever I am expanding, this is going to display as a custom Fiori app. See, I expand here. This is the subheading. Now, if I'm going to a snap means I'm going to collapse. So whenever you want to write or show something, when I going to expand, so I can write here, let's say, please expand for more info. I'm just writing. Okay, you can put any control here. That's not a problem. Okay, so this is how the behavior, like say the requirements comes such thing like that. This is how you're going to decide your requirements. So initial stage will be like, let's say I have expanded already, right? So if I want to collapse, always let's say false, right? So I will going to make it false. So what will happen? My this information will not be visible right now. So the user, I want to display some information ki, hey, you expand for more information, like how I see, please expand for more info. Though my heading is different. My heading is, sorry, my subheading is what? My custom Fiori app, right? But since it's not in expanded stage, I want to show something like some indication, or you may not have requirement of keeping the expand and snap content. You can just remove from here. Okay, this is not necessary that you use every property. You can directly use, you can actually remove it, like expand property you can remove, snap property you can remove, right? All these things. So whichever you don't need, you can remove it. But I'm just showing you how you can design your use case, right? What requirements comes up, how you are going to do that. These things I'm just trying to show you here. Now see, if I expanded, now see, this changed back to my custom Fiori app, which was actually available. Now I don't need to show the user, right, that particular information, hey, expand from more info, because it's already expanded. Got it now? Now see title on mobile. You see here, this is again subheading. Now see, what is the beauty I will show you now. See again, I'm going to put it my mobile mode. Okay, I'm going to go do this information. So right now, okay, so this is even is a mobile mode, some responsiveness. You can keep changing it here. You can change the whatever the information. Basically, I think the size and width it is showing, like some pixel, probably something, the default uh, design of your mobile screen. This is referring to any of the standard mobile design, whatever we have, right? So if it's your app is running, okay, in the area of let's say if it's running somewhere in the form of your mobile app, right? So in that scenario, how you want to show, this information, right? How you want to show your title on mobile. So if you are running your app in the mobile, this title will be coming up like that. Okay, so these are various feature available. This is how it's going to be helpful for you, or anyone who are going to work with your application. This is how they are going to see the various information, whatever you will define here. Okay, so this section refers to your mobile area whenever you want to use it. All right, now it has certain things called, let's say I want to, okay, let me okay, restart it again. Okay, so now let's say I wanted to put some content in my area of, let's say, go back to, now if you see another content here, I have given some overflow toolbar accesses, right? You see some kind of icon is given, right? So see, again, it just I mean, see, this is just again one of the feature. If you want to keep it, you can keep. This is something called overflow toolbar. What is overflow toolbar? Again, see guys, so I told you there are a lot of control. Okay, we cannot go and deep dive everything, but for you, if you are interested, definitely you should go look into your demo section. How, what does it mean, that what it does, right? So how it's useful in your programming, what are the methods and everything, you just please refer that part, right? So nevertheless, I'm going to much discuss on this part. This is just one of the control which will be act on top of your control. That's the reason is overflow toolbar, which will be not a normal toolbar. If you see here, this is the one of the normal toolbar which align your kind of stuff in a one line. Okay, the similar way there are another feature which is more a kind of useful when it comes to any information to display on top of that. So you have something overflow toolbar, so you can read out normal, right? Is contains some control as toolbar with the added benefits that button that do not fit area move to an overflow area. What does it mean? That, like, suppose for example this application is getting run in your mobile app, right? So what will happen here, if you are running something in mobile app here, see, this has got changed, my bad. What it was, anybody remember what was the pixel? Okay, something. Okay, so what will happen during doing this is not the exact way of doing the representation, but what will happen when you're running this, right? If any of the screen doesn't have the area to put this control, let's say the screen space is only this much, okay, only this much, let's say some of the mobile screen. So what will happen, this will not be available like next to this, rather it will be overflow on top of it, like it will be somewhere, it will be coming on top of it. Okay, so that's the reason, means it will contain some information which may not be available and fit into the screen, but it benefits that buttons do not fit are moved to an overflow area, but means what, it will be available, it's not going to remove, but it will not be just next to your title also, it will be somewhere as a overflow will be, or maybe next to on top of it will be available, but it's not like it's going to hide something, it just be available as a, it's a smart design of Fiori, it will be automatically find some place, it will shift there. That's the reason we have mentioning is overflow toolbar. So there are a lot of control, guys, you have to go and deep dive and try to understand what all this means. Okay, now see actions. The another section, see, understood, one section, dynamic page title itself has a lot of sub control aggregation, right? One is page title having heading, see, one is the heading. Okay, another one, again, heading having this proper like expanded content, snapped content, right? What is the will happen in a mobile? If you want to remove this, this is also fine. I mean, just for the sake of making it available. Then you have a content overflow toolbar, all these things, right? Now you have action again. So these all Cummings aggregation are part of dynamic page style. Means we are just talking about we are just talking about these area. Sorry, these area. Okay, I'm just again talking about these a small area only, nothing else. Okay, so this aggregation having something called action. Let's say you have a something to button put on the top of the screen, right? So this you should always put on the right. And one more thing, guys, if your design guidelines say that any button you should always put in the right. If you have something to do in the top, should be on the top right corner. If you have something in the bottom, you should be on the top left right in the corner. Something save or something in the footer stage, right? So button alignment should always go in the right side. Okay, that's the design guideline. If you have seen, I have given you one link also, few design guidelines. If you go through that, you will see that the basic design guidelines of Fiori design, what you are going to take it. Now, so this button, whenever you put here, it goes under your action area. So under this action area, you can put n number of button the way you want to do that. Okay. Again, this layout data is just going to helpful to, put your buttons at certain, a space position. So you don't have to, do some extra, CSS and extra custom CSS classes or any standard classes to write down to make every button align, right? So it's the better that you can directly use some layout data in terms of your button, that it will just go and auto adjust your button alignments. Okay, that's the one thing. Now there was something called navigation action. This is another property, right? Navigation action means these are the, you see, this is the navigation action. But let's say you want to move from this one of the screen to another screen, right? You want to move from generally not a screen. Basically, you are going to navigate from one of this app to another app, right? I want to move to another app. Okay, in that scenario, this is going to be helpful. This is going to be how you're going to modify here, like this semantic object, I mean navigation button will be linked to another application. So this is where you, if you have, see, again I'm telling, not every property is going to be used by you during a development. It's based on your requirements. If you don't have anything to navigate from any one of the app to another app, you don't have to put this dot button will come into the picture when you have more buttons. See, there's a area specified here. If you see, I will show you, there's something called this is elements inspection. Okay, and I'm going to back to your mobile mode here. Sorry, come back to your desktop mode. In this will help you. These are the HTML layout, right? So it will show you, right? See what are the space it has. If you see here, if just putting it back here, okay, see here, this is the area defined here. Okay, this is the small area is defined only for this particular area. So whatever it can adjust, those control only you can. Now you cannot adjust here something like form, some kind of big layout of a structure. No, you cannot do that. So every control having certain, see, again, if you see this area is reserved for this space. Now see, this is your action edit button, right? This is reserved. This div is reserved up to this length. Now for button, these are the area is specified. If it exceeding those area, it will be coming in the button, this button, and then it will show you whatever come next to that, whatever come extra, it will be appear as a 3 dot. 3 dot means there is something extra you want to keep it. Okay, like that. So every control what you see here, it is having a certain kind of space design. A space is given, header, title, button, space, everything you can define here. So those information, if whatever the space has been given by the DOM layout, that only you can fit. Whatever is not fitting, it's not going to display. Remember that if you put 100 buttons, so it will be going to display only 4 buttons, remaining will come 96 will be on this, like that. Okay, so I mean, this is just how, as per the design, how it's going to look like. Okay, so again, so everything is not required for you, then just keep remove it. Okay, not it. Now next section what we have is, remember, this is my title, which I still talk about only was the title. Now I am talking about, this is my header. So under this header section, generally what we are going to use it, this header section itself is going to be used for some, if you remember, I shown you one of the, I mean, a smart table which we have filter by now, right? So this is the area which header basically going to put some large control. Okay, title control is meant for some kind of heading, text, button, action, all these stuff. But this bottom area is going to be helpful for only for to display some kind of filter, some kind of some control you want to put, right? Let's say you want to see, this is of the control label and text, right? So this label text stuff combination you cannot put here, because this is not meant to do that. The area which is meant, this is a specified area. Okay, so like that. So I want to put here filter bar, let's say. Okay, so I don't want this text, I want rather a filter bar. So what I will do, I will go back to my workflow here. I will search for a smart, I will see, there's a smart filter bar. I will talk about when I'm going to work with your SAP Fiori elements type of application. Right now I'm just going to show you the normal filter bar, which is same look wise, feel wise will be the same. exactly everything same. Okay, there is no more difference, only the feature wise difference, feature wise, and how it has been implemented. The smart control, whenever I say a smart controls, it is actually going to handle by your serious view and its annotation. Okay, whenever I can normal filter bar, basically you're going to code it, you have to code in your program. So this is my filter bar. Okay, so I go to my view file and I will see here, this is the area of my dynamic page header, and this is the area which I'm going to see. Again, dynamic page header having a content, right? Dynamic page header, and this is some kind of horizontal layout, and also I am going to remove this area. Or otherwise you can keep it horizontal layout, that's not a problem. Horizontal means everything will be aligned horizontally, like it's going to align horizontally. If you put vertical layout, everything will be vertically aligned, this all information. That's the reason. So it's okay, so I can keep it, no problem, horizontal layout or vertical layout, whatever. Or if you want, or if you don't, filter bar anyway automatically it's a horizontal control, so that will be fine. So now see, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to copy this my filter bar. Okay, and this filter bar I'm going to just copy and filter bar up to here, wherever it's a start and closing, you have to just copy. Now I come back here and I put this back here. See, I'm not doing anything. I just did what? I just using the filter bar. Okay, so by default, I hope there is no error, so it will be okay. Now see, filter bar belongs to some kind of FB. FB is a one of the, see here, if you see there, it will not be going to load here. If you right click, it will show you some kind of error in the console. It will show you, see here, FB is a null, right? Because this is the FB, it's the namespace it is looking for. But FB, there is no reference, remember? We don't have any such reference available in our library declaration. It means I have to take a filter bar library, which is referring to a filter bar. Okay, so I will copy this and I will come back and I will add here. Okay, so guys, see, I'm covering such error also, right? So please focus, and any doubt, please, of course, ask me the question. But yeah, I mean, this is what I this is what I'm saying here. Okay. Let it load. Okay, item.js. Okay, again, if you see under that, there will be definitely some kind of control which I am going to use here. Okay, so these are the, okay, binding which is getting used here right now, which is, I'm going to see core item, right? So see, it's a core item, I'm using it. So again, if you see this error, it is showing here core item.js is not available, right? So again, so what I meant to say is here, so if you see, there's a code which I have written here, but it's not mentioned with respect to our declaration, I guess. Core we have core control. See, we don't have core control, right? So what I will do, I need to copy this back and I'm going to put it here. Okay, so this is going to be my another library of code. See, it's not there. Okay, so I have sap.ui code, so code library which is required. So this is which we are referring. I told you, right? So whenever you are referring any library, anything, if you are not declaring on the top, it is going to throw you the error. Okay, now see, the error has gone, and you see here now this filter bar has came into the picture. Got this point? Now see this filter bar. Okay, let it be. Make it always false or true. Or okay, fine, not a problem. Chalo, theek hai, false hi rakhte hain. Okay, so now if you look at into this filter bar, now this filter bar, what it does, right? So filter bar, again, you need to know more about this filter bar. So go to the API section here and come back and check for the, again guys, so whenever you search any control, you make sure you are under the right library. Okay, so if you see here, there are different library like bh library, the mds library, c library, smart filter bar library, comp library, right, api library, filter bar library. So when you are searching it, you should always see, now it's going fe, right? Something is fe. No, it's not something we are looking here. So what we are doing, sap.f library, right? So you can also do here sap.f or fb, or what we are using here, fb or something. Look, wait a minute, what library we are using it for, referring to our filter bar is something called sap.ui.comp. Okay, so you can also search like this. Go to your peer reference and you can just search it. Okay, now see, if you see this, so now you have a filter bar here. Now see, if you have comp, filter bar, or filter, this is what we are using it, right? So you go to section of property, you can see different property it has, right? What are the aggregation it has, right? So what are the properties? It has group items and filter items. So now see, if you see here under this filter bar, whatever items we have available, like it has group items, right? So see, if you see this part again, it has filter group items. So that's why it's declared filter group items. Under the full group items, again, if you see, again, if you go inside now, it have, if you see what is aggregate to items, so definitely it has item, right? It's a very simple. If you again, if you just try to understand that information, it's like items will be aggregated to your item. See, this is your item, right? So this is how you are going to see, I mean, dependent control information you can keep finding. So group items having group item. Now whatever name you will give, right? So this name and label, understand us, this name is going to refer, you can also give a reference to your label, or you can just a property which you are going to bind to this particular control, like name, I want to bind it to a particular uh, naming control. For example, I want to give this name as a, let's say, a product name, right? So product name, let's say I want to call it as product name, but this product name is actually, I want to call it as a name of my label. But what you can do, this name property you can refer here as for your binding also. Let's say this is my binding name. Okay, so name, if you want to give something as a property which you want to refer it for your binding, that time also you can provide. Or if you want to have a separate controls available, controls, if you see in the bottom, right? If you see in the bottom, we have defined a separate control here, right? So if you are having a control, if you want to uniquely identify some, property name, what is going to be name of that particular filter bar, right? What name you want to give, what property you want to give, right? These are different things are available, right? So name is just again, I told you, you either can keep it like same as you have the control, like uniquely identify, or you can simply say one name of one, or ABCD, something unique name. That's the simple name I'm telling, just something unique name. So unique name is what? You always have your product. I mean, I'm just saying in the terms of your identification something, because if you are going to refer your control, you are going to refer your control by some name or by label something, but generally it's going to be referred by some name or by group name also. Okay, something like that. All right, so now if you come back here, so it's my suggestion, you can keep it as a property name what you binding here, or you can give something XYZ, but make sure your next name of your filter bar should not be the same, it should be different. Okay, so for example, that's why I'm just keep writing here as, okay, so you can keep it like category, or you can keep it like, you can keep it same also, that's not a problem. Okay, like category is a single word, so I can keep it the single word. Supply is a single word, I'm getting the simple word like that. So understood? So your every group item name should be different, and of course the group reference, again, see, this is one of the group. Okay, you want to create one of the group of your control of your filter bar. If you are going to give a different group name, right? If you want to suppose create a different group of some let's say group A, group B, and group C, right? So your filter bar is going to turn down into a different grouping, right? One grouping, the next grouping, third grouping. Advisable condition is always keep one group. Okay, always, if you see a reference is one group, reason being one group because you can write, you can include. See, what is filter bar? Filter bar is meant to be search something whatever available in your table, right? So that scenario where you use this group, I mean, filter bar. So you, whatever you need, you can keep it in a single group, right? You don't, again it's again based on your use cases. Let's say you want to create a one group name to be available for certain particular set of user which will log in it. You want to have, let's say, group 2 as a different level of people who is going to show it, right? So those scenario, maybe you can define your group, and then you can do it that. Okay, like that. So okay, I think till now so far, of course, we will going to talk about next to going to talk about these bindings and all, and of course your table binding. Till now, any doubt, any one of you having it, you can ask me the question, and after that we will have another 5 minutes of break, and then we'll continue. So till now, everyone, what we talk about what are the various feature of dynamic page. Now we are talking about the filter bar, and then of course the page layout and all, right? So this will be going to give you the overview of how latest Fiori design or Fiori elements actually going to be designed, and how it interact with each other in a custom development that will be similar to your Fiori elements kind of. Okay, so any doubt so far?
No.
Fine, good. Okay, so I'm going to show you first very small aggregation binding example. Okay, and see, for example, I have shown you, right, for any kind of data. For example, let's say if I'm talk about what is aggregation and binding, basically, if somebody will ask you what is aggregation and binding, then what you will say that, right? I mean, how you will be going to refer. So the aggregation binding is the kind of binding which is going to help you to generate n number of child. Okay, see, element binding में what was that? We discussed element binding, right? Element binding में you have child elements already defined. That, see, for example, here. Okay, so what happened here in the sense of here, see, this is here, this is again a parent control, which is nothing but your container. Okay, but what is this container? So this container is talking about what kind of things it is basically talking about. It has some certain kind of n number of, n number of information available, which is having some child controls already defined. So it's called element binding because when you're applying on the parents. Okay, remember. So don't be confused with that, because some places people get confused with elements binding because we also referring parent child. But here the difference is this parent already child is defined. In case of aggregation binding, you see there is nothing is generated. So aggregation binding is something which going to help you to generate n number of child elements. For example, this table, right? This table is your parent. Now, whatever number of rows it gets generated, it's going to be considered as a child rows. Basically, the n number of child which this table has, or n number of rows this table has, is happens because of the generation of your aggregation binding. So now see, again, aggregation binding, for if you see here, one of the another difference what you can see here in elements binding, what I did here, right? We are just referring to a model of object type. Does it require to have an array of type? No. So the another biggest difference we have is every aggregation binding has to be in the form of array of object. Okay, your property binding, element binding, it's might, or it's not required, not required to be in the form of array. Even if some array you have, you always have to refer only any one object. Okay, that's where we have these things. Okay, now, but when it comes to aggregation binding, it's always be going to be your array of aggregation, nothing else. Okay, all right. Now, for example, I want to do, remember I told you you can actually differentiate and can do some kind of, model declaration. I have shown you example key, guys, you can do your model declarations, small data if you have, you can do in your controller also, but the best practice, as per the best practice, you should do it under models.js file. If you guys remember, we have talked about that, okay, in my very first classes. Okay, now see how, now I'm going to see, I have already shown you how you can declare this in a, in in the form of in the controller, how you can actually going to find this information. But now I'm going to show you the same thing, how you can go and do that information in the form of a data model. Model.js may what you can do first, again it's again a function, right? So I will say here some kind of data, let's say of handle or you said form drop down data. I'm just giving some, very simple name or very common name just to make it, but your name of your function should be aligned with what you are going to deal with. Okay, so like that. For example, you have this information. Okay, so form drop down data. Right. What will happen here? This is what we have is something called uh, any data. Let's say you don't have event here. Now I will say here, let's say I will use here let, or I will use your var. I have shown you the var. I'm going to use now let. Okay, let my data. I will say set. I will use the again the camel case data set. What is this? This is going to be an object. So again, if you have object, to start with O and then D. O and then data set, and then equals to, again this is an object. And now here, see again, it's always a good idea you refer by your object by some name, rather you just give some. See, I can directly start with my n number of child of elements. Okay, I can start using without any giving name of it, but I want to refer it. That's the best way. Even if you code in your app, right, any object you are creating, anything you're exposing, right, you either want to a kind of entity set or some different kind of, some reference you're passing always, right? So that's the good idea. So always do that. Okay, so let's say I'm going to make it for something called product. I want to put it here, something called product name here as my property reference, means my object reference, sorry, not object. Now this product name can be of n number. This is, I'm going to create a data model for my what I'm going to create my data model for a aggregation binding. So its aggregation binding has to be which form? Array form, remember that. Okay, now this property name I'm just giving as a name. Okay, let's say the property I'm giving as a just a name. Okay, so just a name of information, just a name. Okay, now I will say here name stands for here, I will say something, let's say anything. Okay, let's say I will say here some mobile name brand, let's say I have Apple. Okay, now what I will say, this is my product name, one of the product name. I just forgot to put here your object notation, so that's why it was throwing the error, right? Okay, so now see, this is my Apple. Now again I'm going to create, let's say I'm going to create few more. Now see guys, property name in case of aggregation means array should never be changed. It should always be referring to the same property. It should not be changed. If I'm saying name, I cannot say here something last name, something different. But property, this is a property name. It should never change. In aggregation binding, your property going to be the exactly same. Only value is going to be changed. Okay, let's say Samsung, and let's say here this is called let's say OnePlus. Okay, let's say called Nokia, or let's say called Vivo. Let's say called Nokia. All right, so this is your one of the I have defined my data set. Now whenever you define or you want to return something, right, remember, see, in your our controller, I'm going to more into that, but guys, but just for your understanding, if you remember, see, in the every controller you have a return controller. Return mention means what? This controller, whatever you're going to write the logic, this file is going to return that. Return means like this is a return output. You can say that something is going to return back by the function. So this is where whenever you want to return something, you want to get back from the function, you should always have this notation available. So whenever you say, you should always say return is the keyword, and then say whatever object of data set you have created or data set. Okay, now you defined in your model.js, so you should always do. So I have given you example for both how you can refer from your controller. So controller, if you are doing it, you don't have to do such kind of method. You directly start in any of the method body, or you can have separate function the similar way. But whenever you do in the model.js, right, you have to have your reference of that model.js file. You need to make sure that this is available, right? So now you need to define the path of your model. Remember, this is the path, your model, right? So what do you do here now? Just follow this, just the follow what is the our, okay, so not here, here under controller file, right? Because I want to make use it available to my controller, means this particular view and controller file, right? So you have to provide the path. है ना? So start with this. So what you can do up to what is your, this is your right namespace. You just write down here, and every dot you just replace by slash. Okay, just replace it by slash. And then after this slash, you see what we have, model. This is the file. This is your folder name, my model. And then slash, you have models, right? This models which you are referring right now is going to be referred as a return parameter of your, remember I told you every time whenever you do any notation, make sure you are referring here. Now this is available. Now this you can refer it as under, again I told you, anything you want to do some very first time, you should do it in your on init file. Okay, so it is the execute only once. What do you want here now? I want where my drop down data, or I will say here something called product, right? So I will say a product, I will say product list equals to, I want to get back, right? So what is my mod? This is the models is my reference now, and dot whatever the method you have created under your model.js file, you pass it here, and then you break it, right? Now the moment you got this product list, now see how it will execute here, right? You have this, you have created product list. Now see, I will show you how this is getting loaded. Okay, now let me once this app gets loaded, okay, looks like some kind of error. Now see, okay, there is no error. So what you can do, I hope there is no error, right? I think models SAP com Java TCS Fiori demo model is a file name, and models is something which we are referring. This is your models, and then this is my method, and this is your drop down function, and then this is my this is going to be returned by my function which I have written here, and then this is my return set. Yeah, it should not be a problem. Let's see, refresh and again launch it. So anytime if you want to go back to your this function, this part, you always do Control C. Okay, you click somewhere and then just say Control C. I think it's going to get lost, I guess. Okay, once it has lost the reference. Yeah,
I think you are in debug console, that's why.
Yes, it has been invoked because of that. So let's go and refresh it to again and try. So generally when you are in the same reference, you will do the Control C. It is going to be take back to your CLI. Okay, npm run strt start. Okay, now you see that everyone the app got loaded. So sometime what happens, see, when you are doing some modification probably, and there's a possibility that some file you might have some data modeling, something has gone, probably reference has lost. In that scenario, you need to refresh your application from that. Okay, now see, I will show you how you will define that. Like, see, again, I told you debugging is something, is not a you might have seen your curriculum, but it's not like a one day I can just finish it up. It's just an ongoing process. So I will show you how you can debug your data model, how you are, what you have received or not. Okay, so this is my onInit function, and I am calling this my function. Under this model function, I have form drop down data. So I will go back to find my file here. I will go back here and I will put down here my that debugging. If you whenever you're doing the debugging means you have to do always stand. It will see if you click somewhere, it's not selected because it has to be selected. Whenever you turn blue means something got invoked from here, right? And then you can put it here. Now load this into application, right? The onInit method will be on loading. It will be, of course, load when you refresh, but when you navigation from page 1 to page 2, in that time this onInit will not be invoked again. Okay, so this is the difference we have already discussed in our life cycle method. Remember, see, now see, this got already available to you, right? This got invoked. The function it debugger point has came here, guys. So if you click on this means F8, it will execute the complete file. Matlab, it will not go line by line. If you want to go line by line, you have two options. Either you do it from here or here. Right hand side, you see, this is your, see guys. So understand, see, we are going 2-3 topics parallelly. Okay, I told you a few things will be go keep parallel. So this is your debugging things which will keep going on parallel, right? Data modeling, data binding, events handling, all this thing will be a parallel process, not one day will be cover everything, right? It will be because these are will be coming from the top, from initial to end of it, because it's something not. So in the beginning, what I told you on one day, I gave you introduction about your debugging, how you can check and all. But this today I'm going to debug you, show you some other feature. So this is how it's going, keep going feature, right? So you see, this is how you execute here. So if you see here, either you do it from here, or you right hand side, if you see here, this is something called completely resume it. Like you click on this, it will just execute everything. If you click this one by one, F10, mean this is again top या फिर यहाँ पे करो. Okay, left right hand side, you see the debugger. See again this watch point, breakpoint, right? All these things. Remember I saw you here also available in Bash, right? So it depends on how you try to debug of any particular data modeling or any function. But you see, you will see here some more information. Remember, this is how the debugger tool is powerful. Okay, your Chrome JS engine ka whatever debugger has been given. Remember, product list is defined, but see demo data which I have said, see, it was showing me, right? This data definition what I have given here. It is also showing me the definition of local data. You see, this is also given with the structure of it. See, business having this, intro having this. See, this is how it's going to be like that, right? And of course, if you have any view model defined, see, this is the view model I have defined, right? This is my O view model, which I have defined here somewhere. See, O view model. So it has giving define that. O master data model I have defined here, right? See, master data model I have defined here. So this is how you in the local, I mean, this right sign is, it will show you what all the things is going on, right? Any kind of call has been triggered, it will show you here, right? Or something local scope, what we have, any global anything you have closure, maybe we have JSON model. If you have, see, what are the closure means, what are the library you have used here. See here, I have used controllers, JSON model, message box, message toast, and the models, right? So this closure is giving you information of whatever you have defined in your controller as a file reference. Okay, there's few global object that is just always be available whenever you are running your application, kind of. Okay, these are something information that you can look for it. And of course you can do. Now let's come back to my debugging mode. Now see, if I want to execute one by one, so I will just click on this one. So now see, the debugger was here, now it has moved here, right? Because of the reference I have provided, right? For my model.js file, I have provided the reference key. Hey, this particular method is available under models.js file. So it now goes to model.js file and see what it will return. So see, it's a data set of array of product name of array of this name. See here, it's got here like that. So this structure is going to be returned back by, it will be available to your product list. Now again, I want this data to be present, right, and to be available to my model, right? So what I will do now, I will create one local JSON model again. Okay, what I will say here, just make a copy of it, whatever the way we used to do. I will create another model. See, again, all the models you can define at once here also, that's also fine, no bad, no problem. And it's a preferable way. You should have your one data model to do something to particular area. Don't have only one data model and keep adding the property and all these things. It will become very lengthy, very big one, and maybe managing it also very, I mean, kind of confusing. Okay, so it's good idea to have your some separate filter, I mean, JSON model reference for different purpose. So I have maintained one filter bar model. Okay, so filter bar, I will say model. Okay, so let's say filter bar model. Okay, so now this filter bar model, what I'm going to do, I'm going to refer like this. Okay, and then again, I'm just copying it. Okay, guys, so don't worry. We are just told you, if you are doing the perform the same action, you need to always do and just change whatever you need to do. Okay, now see. So again, this I'm going to set my data as a product list. So this filter bar model is going to be my what is going to be my filter bar data model, which will be going to contain my product list, which I have created under model.js file. Now this controller file is done. You have created one array of element object. Now you're going to perform some aggregation binding. Okay, we'll start with a small thing which is called my, let's say I want certain things. Okay, let me create out, or let me see, these things I may not need, so I will just going to comment it out. Okay, just to make not any kind of confusion. Okay, this button and all fine, copy here, that's fine, action is fine. I don't want this to be available with this, so just skip whatever is required. Okay, toggling also we can remove this, copy, delete, edit is fine. Or okay, fine. Okay, like that. And then there's something called navigation action. Again, this is no problem. Or okay, fine, if you want to do something like your screen, whatever, you can keep it. I'm just skipping maybe property. Now in my group item, if you see, this is my multi combo box. Okay, I will come back to this multi combo box. What does it mean? Basically, multi combo box means it will allow you to select more property. So guys, so under the select, we have, selection. Basically, if you see this application, what it is, okay, what it is. This is a kind of application where you select something, right? Select something from the drop down, right? So for that drop down purpose, we have many controls. Okay, so you whatever name 3 assembly name is not absolute. Okay, something got messed up here. I might have deleted something which is not deleted properly. Okay, so this button, okay, this button is the disclosure. Okay, so that's why. All right. Okay, and this button is this. Okay, so see how you will see some kind of error, or this is how see. So very important, you need to understand how what is getting displayed and how you can actually rectify all this. Okay, so now let's load it. So if you see this application having it, this drop down, right? This drop down having various different kind of control available. So if I see here, if for example, if I go to sample, there's something called select. Okay, I'm just showing you guys. Okay, I told you there are a lot of control based on the need. Some control I will display, but trust me, all the control whatever you're going to see, you need to always come here, refer it, and just see. So for such kind of drop down, you have certain different types of uh, mm, controls available. So one is the select. Okay, so now this select is helping for you to display some data and select from the list available, right? So for example, this is how it's going to be applicable. This is the one of the select. Similar way, we have something called combo box. Okay, so if you go to the combo box, it will display you again. It's again same thing, the way it's display here, but it has certain differences. Now you see the data is more, right? Looks like same select wise, but data is more. Now there's another call, something called multi combo box. You see that another information here. This is what they have example given in our this code right now. Now see here in this multi combo box, you can select multiple record here. Got it? Now guys, understood the one thing here. Okay, so how you will identify when you have to do use select, because see all of them is doing the same thing, right? One difference you can see here, we are selecting multi record, that's why we have multi combo box, that is fine. But how you will define, how will decide I should select or combo box or multi combo box? So this guys, so this is where your Fiori design guidelines comes into the picture. Okay, go here and read out when to use your uh, Fiori apps, whatever control is given, select, right? For example, let's say I'm going to search here for select. When to use select, they will tell you key when you have to use select, when you should not. Okay, so if you see here, there's something called select. Come here, see select, what is usage here? You see it's showing here if you need to select between between 2 to 12 items. Only if you have very short item, then you should do select. In my scenario, let's say my condition is for select. Got the point? Now I want to do the binding with only for select. I do, because as per my design guidelines, the data is very less. So I should go by select. So what I will do again, I will go to my select. Okay, go here. Okay, and search for the select again. Where it went here, select. Okay, again select may see again, these are different even types, guys. So see again, this is just for exploration purpose, how this selects can be, you know, left side you maintain something, right side you also some data comes. Yes, they all are different types, and of course they are, this is just a difference of properties. Okay guys, so whatever you go here, right, select may, if you have seen select, you go to API references, right, what property you see, there are property called additional information. So if you provide additional information, it will come back in the right hand side, right? Similar way you have icon, if you want to show some in terms of icon, then you have to enable that property, that's it. Okay, if you see the code, you can find out what are the, how they have maintained the data. Of course the data model we have to download and check from there, see all basically whatever mocks our data they are using it, they are having such kind of data available, right? That's the reason they are able to see this icon, right? So they are storing in the database, that's why you are able to see. So if you want to display, so this is just a matter of your way of property defining definition and your data modeling. So I'm just, of course I'm just starting with the basic part, but rest all these things is all just a different property which is available here and combining with each other. Okay, so right now I'm showing you was one of the drop down information how you can define. So for example, I have a select, right? So what I will do, I will come here, I will go back, I will copy this. Okay, I will copy this and I will go back to my this control, which is my uh, product control, and I am going to give the name as a select. Got the point? Now this select, if you see, there is no label available, so I can provide here some kind of label because label is not present. Okay, before that, let me show you. Let's start with just the normal. Again, don't worry, this is just the ID part. They are just showing it. That's okay. Now this is another property like selected key. Like if you want to display some information defaultly, you want to select some product. Let's say like you come to the page, you want to make sure that one of the product, let's say Apple is the one of the products should be available as a default selection, right? So in that scenario, this should be your this should be the property going to be reference. So generally what happens, the data comes from backend and that property you directly bind. So in the backend data model, let's say I'm going to make a get call, right? So that backend may send you some header structure, then item structure. So right in the header structure, what default value it has been sent for this particular product name. Okay, what is the product name? This particular name has been sent you back. In that scenario, this default selection will help you in that scenario. Right now we don't have default selection. Now forced selection are again, this is something which will allow you to select a user first. I mean, this doesn't mean that if I am going to make it true, so the first record is going to be defaultly shown here, right? So now there are different things that I'm just talking about your properties here. Please go through API section and to go through this property. You will understand what all this property means to do. Okay, and then perform something like make it true, false, see the behavior, put some different property, see what changes is coming. So all these things are you're learning. Okay, now see, this is the items is aggregation property. Aggregation matlab this is going to generate the n number of child element. Okay, now the path is this, which is going to make it available for your data model path. Got it? So in your data model path, you have to define your path here, data model. See, you guys, you see this, I told you, right? In this italics, whatever they have given example here, they are just referring you from one of the mock server they define it for. Okay, not mock server. Like for example, this is the one of the thing. Okay, so see, this is the one of the product collection. They have it. Okay, under this product collection, they maintain some data and array and all these stuff. Whatever what you see right now on the screen, right? So this data they are referring it right now. This data they are just setting in the model without any name here, right? So if you give some name, there will be definitely a change into you have to provide the with the path name. Okay, now see product data collection, whatever they are referring here. So this is the product data collection of OData. Product data collection, you will see whatever property they have maintained, they are referring it from the model section. Similar way in our scenario, I told you as per the best practice, you should always have your data model defined. So my data model defined here, filter bar data model. So I'm going to put my filter bar data model. Okay, but this time in filter bar data model, what will going to happen? See guys, so here you see there is no kind of a structure which is greater than a sign is not available, right? You see this is not a available part here. Okay, so that's the reason I don't have to, but my data model having name, so I will going to give this property this name with the whatever name I have given to my what is the first thing is called is at a product name, right? So product name is going to be my product collection as a product. Okay, so I think product collection is a good name, right? I think, right? So better I will change this as a product collection. Okay, that's fine. So now it is going to refer this of the binding, and path may is going to refer my name. Okay, so this is the shorter path. Okay, if even if I'm not using it, that's fine. Guys, understood? Okay, so this is sorting purpose. If I want to remove it, that still will work. Okay, this will still work. Okay, so now whatever I have a core item is available, right? Like product ID and then name, right? So I don't have ID right now. I have just maintained as a name here. So it is just going to refer my name. I don't maintain any ID. If I want to maintain, let's say, for example, let's say I will maintain some kind of ID, right? So for example, if I'm going to maintain some ID just to uniquely identify, right? ID is required here because remember, the one property called selected key. So ID is nothing but your key here. So in terms of key, what I can say here, I will say key. This is not an ID, just a key. So what I will say here, okay, ID1, or I can say key as a 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, something like that. Okay, so you can add n number of properties, but make sure the property going to be different. Sorry, same property should be same, but your value should be different. Okay, like key name is going to be everywhere repeated, but the value should be changed. Okay, like that. So I'm just showing you those things like information available. Right. So now this is 3, this is 4, and this is my 5 data. Okay. So now in this scenario, now in this case, I have maintained some kind of what? Key also I have maintained, right? So I will just say key. Okay. So now this key will be uniquely identified for my all list of item. Okay. So filter bar model I'm referring, and I am referring to my what I am referring to my product collection. So whenever I am going to refer my product collection over here, so it is going to just refer whatever information I have given, this data, this combo box, and whatever data we are going to refer it here, this value is going to be available for that filter bar. Okay, so now there is a way. For example, if you want to set this property, if you want to see some more information, like you have to go to, kind of your API set and check for the events also. Like if you want to do some selection event, right? What are the events will come? So you have to write here like on selection, right? So this is, for example, I will go to select. Okay, so I want to, let's say, what will happen if I'm going to select something, right? So in that scenario, you have to go to your select. So again, select may it should come from your M table. Okay, so right here, SAP dot M dot select. Okay, so here now you see under the events what happens, change, right? So if I'm doing some change here, right, what will happen if I want to make some change here, right? So I will write here change. So this will allow you to handle like item, yeah, handle product, product, product selection. Okay, so this is the one of the method which you want to make some changes, you want to make some kind of logic, you want to refer it some kind of logic binding and all. In that scenario you need to perform this kind of binding. Okay, now again, this once you go back here, now see the model is available now, but not see it's not loaded. Anybody can tell me what justification I should do in this case? If you remember the example which I have shown you.
You need to use model name as well.
Very good.
In
So
the
this,
items.
yes, so this one has to refer, the reference is already created, but since it's bound to a model, it has to be passed here. Okay, so now whatever the data model which you defined here in your model.js is already available to your model. You already created a path, but after creating a path, just if you don't have model name, then it would have not a problem. But when you have a named model, you should reference it. All right. So if you see guys, all of the record has came into the picture. So this is your select information, right? You want to make sure, see, I have given here false, right? For selection. Okay, so when I come back very first time, I am selecting, then it will be selected, right? When I'm selecting, it's going to be selected. But if I want to make it something already available, right? If I want to make it already available, in that scenario, you make it true. It means what? The very first element which is going to be available in your already selected one. See, my first selected one. Okay, and then remember I was showing you some kind of something was there, something called selected key, right? So selected key may see, for example, I'm just showing you guys. Okay, but please deep dive into all. So it's not possible to talk about every property because a lot of are there, right? Selected key, it will help you to select a particular list of it, right? So generally this information comes from a backend, right? Based on your requirement, hey, I want out of these message any one should be displayed as a default one always, right? So that key binding you should do it here. For example, let's say I am just doing a hardcore, right? So because one is my key available here, right? So it should be uh, going to be make it available. Sorry, this is not a comma required here because you're in the view file. Selected key means one. Okay, even though I false it, or though it will be already will take care which key is bound to your product name. It is going to display as your first time. See, now I'm going to, let's say, change back to, let's say, the fourth one. So what is fourth one? Fourth one is your Vivo. So it should going to be display your first selection should be as a Vivo. See, this is the Vivo. Okay, so let me change this to default to so every time I have to expand, right? So, so make it true. So everyone understood, right? So feature of Z, we explain you the feature of dynamic page. Then I'm explaining you how you can, how the filter bars. And then of course we gave you example of one of the small example of how this aggregation binding works, right? Aggregation binding always works with respect to your n number of information. Okay. Now let's say guys, so if you see this with respect to the design guy is saying 2 to 12 items, right? Now when to use combo box? It's a very simple, right? And same thing, information is same. When you have to use it, when if it's more than 12 item, then use combo box. Okay, so combo box ka look and feel are same the way it's supposed to. And I see even if you see here, they already give you example, right? Okay, I was shown you already. So it's going to be look like same. Only thing is the data will be more. Then use combo box. If you are having multiple selection, then use multi combo box. So if you see the example here, it's already given, right? Multi combo box ka example they already given here. What will happen if I'm going to change the same thing with this, with the multi combo information? So I'm going to use the same path, which is I have this. Okay, I'm going to change. Okay, remember guys, we have one property called sorter, right? So sorter means, what does it mean by sorter? Means it is going to apply with respect to, so you want to sort with some name or property, right? So this is just a property name that will be helpful for you. And for example, which I'm showing you, you want to sort some data. That's not just, but I mean, it's just for your information, but generally binding may we keep it like that. But if you want to have it, use it, no problem. Nothing will going to change. Sorter means you want to refer it some kind of name here, binding, so you can just pass your that name as a property name, which is going to be your referred to kind of your binding sorter. Okay, I think should be there. Now let's say I wanted to change this, right? A kind of items path here. So I'm going to change this as item path collection, and then this will be your core item will be like this same. I'm just using the same guys. So it's going to be almost the same information, nothing going to be changed here, right? So what is going to happen now? I'm going to choose multi combo box, but this time same binding, everything is same. Only thing is I'm just changing control and binding, because this is all our aggregation binding, right? So wherever you have items aggregation binding, your definition, your binding is going to be the same. Okay, but behavior will be changed, right? Your control behavior will be changed here. Okay, so I think we okay. So okay, what happened? What change we have done? Oh, looks like this could be okay. 1 minute. Let me first let it run. And whenever you face any such things, you make sure that you may be aligned with whatever the has given. You may make some mistake. Okay, path I have to write. Okay, sorry. So this thing you can just write because you are referring to path. Then you that's why you have to refer this. If you're not referring it, then this will be not a problem. All right. Okay. So now I shown you like multi combo box selects. Now I'm showing you with respect to your multi combo box. So this is again just an example of your aggregation binding. Okay, and let's see
in the
what's error on
items
the
you
screen.
need to put comma.
Do we 1 minute? XML view ID, where we have missed that?
The items.
Items we have here, right? So we have no issue. Oh, okay. This is already have it property. Oh, I think यहाँ पे. And this should not be a problem here, but let's see. So anything goes wrong, you always check in the console and you will find out what error has come up. So generally it will show you. Okay, and these are not error, just some kind of suggestion probably. So you can just ignore it. Okay, now see if you see the category section, I think here, right? Yeah, you see this is a multiple selection as came, right? I can select multiple at a time. Okay, like that. Got it? So same control, I'm just converting back to your different tab, right? All right. So everyone is okay now. I hope all good in that scenario. But if you want to have any more, clarity and discussion and everything, you please go and refer your, kind of everything, and deep dive, basically deep dive, and you will get to know more about it. Okay. Now, so this will be discussed about your filter by till now. So we have discussed about all this stuff, right? Like what dynamic page header structure we have, as title, then header, then we discuss about filter bar, then we discuss about aggregation binding of two types of select. I see if I'm going to convert back into this part, right, as just a combo box, this is also going to be work. Okay, just okay, let's say example of this part. Okay, I will just go and remove this. Okay, it's again going to be the same. This is not going to be change anything else, just going to change the path of items. So okay, and then just the name of this stuff, and that's it. Okay, so now see, it's a combo box, and yeah, of course this has to be combo box. Yeah, now see, select multi-combo box and combo box. So all three types of information which you see I have provided. Of course, I am referring you one data model, but as per design guidelines, keep you remember guys, I've taken a small data model, but as per the up to 12 item, you should have select. More than 12, go for combo box. If you have multiple selection, be it for 5 items or 100 items, okay, if you have multiple selection, then go for multi combo box. Okay, so these are different kind of information. You can refer it. You will see here again, it has came, this is for combo box. You will not see actual difference in both two. Difference is there as per the design guidelines. So less data, go for select. More data, go for combo box. And multiple selection, go for multi combo box. Okay, so these are the three things. These are the mostly you will be going to see. There another type is available, right, which is called value help. All these things. So guys, nothing value help is that. This is another word. So please go and explore that. If you have any issue, just let me know. Value help is something again, same kind of things, but it will be like in terms of dialogue. We will discuss about a dialogue again. So this is something going to become same information, but it will come as a dialogue. Okay, something it will come like a dialogue. So right now you see more information, but it depends how you are going to design it. So generally, whatever you see in the drop down will be available as a dialogue. So dialogue again we use when you have even more data than defined for combo box. If you have very large data like 1000 2000, right, in that scenario you have to go for dialogue because you cannot run. And then there's something called suggestion list. Okay, suggestion list means like you want to type something and then some suggestion start, like suggestion, let's say suggestion list. Okay, these are the feature which generally comes with kind of suggestion field. Okay, so suppose this example I have taken here, right? If I type something like C portable something, right? See, it started searching something. So this is called suggestion list. So aggregation binding may you want to type something and then it starts showing you some kind of information, right? That is called suggestion list. Means it is actually what it is doing. It is filtering out on top of your aggregation binding. Okay, so this is just a feature available. So this is also available in your multi combo box and combo box. For example, I have a combo box example. Since we have started, I just thought let complete. Now see, there will be a type here. Okay, so you will be going to see here suggestion wrapping here, right? So see under this suggestion wrapping, what will happen? So whatever is here given, if you are typing something like say portable, see it's already started taking it, right? So how it works? So there are something called suggestion items that you have to link with it. So this is again, this is a very different type of like implementation, like if you want to do, but for example, this is well suited for input box. Okay, so of course this is also available for your multi-combo box. So it's not available for you're definitely not available for your um, uh, select one, but this is let's see filtering, and this is available for multi-comma box. So you type something, some data available, like suppose I have beam breaker, right? I will just say beam breaker, so it give me some suggestion. Now you will see the implementation also they have given, right? So they, whatever they will give you, it will just ask you to enable the kind of whatever you have mentioned with respect to your suggestion information. So those things is just the implementation, you have to enable it. Okay, so now if you go to your here multi combo box, okay, you will find those information in that scenario. So here you will see properties, right? So under this property it will show you, okay, how you can enable this multi-com box, and sorry, how it's going to be associate with your suggestion drop down configuration. So these are the additional information that you can go and check, right? But as I told you, this is the suggestion list is a part of your input control. Okay, this has been inherited in combo box and multi-combo box, because these are, if you see here, if you type this looks like input, right? You can type something, right? Generally right now you see it's not allowing you to type, no? This is just one of the feature is already available, right? So right now is with Samsung, right? So I am typing here, but if I'm typing something wrong, 1 2 3 4 5, see, it's not allowing me. Why? Remember, it's happening because of this remember this key. So every selection is bound to this particular key. If this is not available, it will not allow you. If it's not available in your text, if you not see, Vivo is right text, right? So whenever you're typing something, it's not going to look into your key or whatever. It will always going to look on the display part, Apple, right? So Apple having a key, right? Maintain. That's why it's allowed you. But if I'm typing something, let's say RE something, right? It's not allowing me to type, it's not available. 1 2 3 is not available in the data, right? So this is the inbuilt feature of your control of your multi-com box, or let's say now see, this is your this is your kind of comma box. It is allowing you to type, you see, it's allowing you to type, but this is not completely inbuilt. That's why I told you, this is one of the feature, you if you want to bring in combo box, you have to implement it, right? When it's wrong, and how you want to validate. So how you will validate this, having a, these are the based on the key, right? Now based on some event, of course, whenever you're making some changes, there are some event that you can do it. And then of course there is one something called input. The input has suggestion list as a actual aggregation available, and it has kind of those suggestion is given. You see suggestion type are given, right? So just for example, I'm taking custom. Okay, so how this suggestion list and work, and also all this logic you will be finding it here, like whatever suggestion, see, suggestion item is given, what when you type something it is coming. So multi-com box anyway it's supported, it's default feature, but in input or comma box, if you want to bring all these things, you need to implement like this, and then check for what are the event available for this control, how you will be typing. If you're someone is typing wrong, like see how it's preventing, right? The same thing can be achieved here also, same thing can be achieved in input also, but those are going to be your handled by your manual coding. Okay, so that is something you will achieve from the controller file. Okay guys, so now we discuss about your small aggregation binding. I have shown you 3 different types of aggregation binding. Now let's come back to our most important part, which is your table. Now see guys, so table we have 2 types. I mean not 2 types, basically majorly we have 3 types. I say we have M table, we have grid table, we have tree table. Okay, M is known for responsive table, which is also known as responsive table. There's one thing called grid table. Grid table stands for UI table also. Like you means it's low, it helps whatever I've shown you in example of a smart table. That was more of the grid table, but of course there are many tables which is also a type of M table. So by default, generally whenever you create any Fiori elements, I told you M table is some table which is largely used in SAP Fiori UI5 as a default control, just to make sure that these all are kind of available, the kind of make it available for all devices. This is not something going to be different, okay, than I mean, as per new design of Fiori, it's more of default. Wherever you see, it's more of your M library control. But whenever you have large data set, you have to go to your grid table, sap.ui.table. Okay, now guys, you will find more information. Like for example, here I'm writing a responsive table. They will tell you what are the differences, when to use, when to not. Okay, so all these things they will talk here. And this is the design guidelines, is something which you need to always refer whenever you are making any changes and whenever you have to take some decision, right, when to use. Okay, so this is your responsive table. See, your table, something which you will talk about, right, sap.m table. So similarly they will ask you when to use it or when you not to use it. Similar way, if I am talking about, I have another table called a grid table, right? So I can also search with like sap.ui table. Okay, so this is the just the reference of your API, so it will also fetch a kind of table, or you can also search by just a name word like table, right? So it will say, you see a table, we have a smart table. A smart table, of course, this is just because of the region of we are having of CDS data modeling, and of course Fiori control, which is going to be have a smart table, right? This is only works with your uh, if I say in high accent, then it's more suitable for your CDS annotation structure. But yes, you can also develop, kind of, normal uh, custom smart table also. But of course, the inbuilt feature what smart table provides you, that you don't have to code, that feature will not be available. So, but if you have CDS annotation, then this will be completely going to be supported. Okay, so all these things like that. Okay, so you will find out that what are the information are available, when to use your UI table, when to use your M table, why you need to use, for how many data you need to use. So there is different information available. So of course you go spend some time, you will find every information in the Fiori design guidelines, when to use and how to use. Okay. All right. So now what you need to do is, okay. Now what I need to do is, I need going to, this is my table, which is of type my, whenever you see items, right? Items is my table aggregation binding. So for example, if I'm going to here SAP dot, let's say I go here itself, okay, SAP dot m dot table table, right? So in this table, I'm going to find out what are the property it has. Okay, alternate, these are the property, guys. Again, just go and check. Then you see aggregation, we have a columns, and then we have items, columns having again items, right? So if you see aggregation section, you will see all this header information, what are the things you need to maintain. All these information you will find in this table section. We have item here, right? What are the, I mean, basically, see guys, just go through all these property, you will find out everything whatever is meant to be. Okay, for example, now I am going to take one of the example of my, I have seen, I think, combo box or multi combo. I saw some JSON data model. Let me use that as my reference for your table data design. So let's see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one data model which is going to be supported for my, I would say basically table data. Let's see. I'm just seeing here if they have maintained some data. I saw somewhere they have maintained multi-combo box, or probably in combo box. So far, everyone is silent. Any doubt? Then we can discuss. Okay. And so just to be make sure, okay, collection path. Okay, I thought I will use something, but anyway, fine. So what I'm going to do now, this is my product collection, right? I'm going to make a definition of another one, which I'm going to, let's say, same, I will say that some table. Okay, or I may have some data may be available. I'm just trying to save some time just to have some data reference, just so that I can just reuse it rather go and create it. Okay, okay, this is your not this table. Okay, I think, okay, another one, you will see list here. Okay, so what we are going to use here, okay, remember, so list wise you will see these are a table which supports. Okay, so we have grid table. So grid table means your data table which is going to be used for a large number of data. If you see here, this is vast amount of data, right? When you have multiple thousands records, then you have to use UI table. Then this is something called responsive table, which I was talking about. See M table, you see. So see grid table, my library is different. UI table, this is also known as UI table. Responsive table also known as M table, which is nothing responsive table. Okay. So see here, recommendation is 100 rows only. Okay. Means I told you, right? Every control having their own feature. The purpose of having these different controls so that you can just meet your requirement and then you design it. Somewhere you have to generally only load 50 records, 100 records at a time, right? Then to go for responsive table. If you have idea is to run in a multiple devices, but if you have, let's say, no, I have to load 1,000 record at a time, then you should go to grid table. Similarly, we have something called tree table, right? Tree table is useful to provide a comprehensive different information, like one row can have, okay, you see how it works. You see, I will show you kind of data. So tree table will be of a different data structure, something like that. Okay, it will be like a different comprehensive information of one having this all these things. So generally T table again is going to a very high level of design and all these things. So it's just like one row can have a multiple hierarchy information, but largely used, we were going to use responsive and grid table, and certain scenarios, certain types needed tree table, but widely used. So we will be talking about responsive grid mostly, not much on tree table. So now see grid table, for example, I'm just taking this is the example how it generally looks like. It generally defaultly it will comes with your this kind of scroller in the bottom. Okay, because it supports load multiple record in multiple column at a time, but responsive table generally comes without any scroller in the bottom. Okay, the idea behind it, I told you, it will just show you the only what is important for you to see, not the whole information. Okay, so that's the reason it is keep saying that kind of information. Okay, now let's me create some of the data tables. So for example, I'm going to use this same data. Okay, I'm going to form now a list data. I will just copy paste, and I will say this time something called form table data. Okay, and this under the products, I will say just the products. Okay, and this time maybe the structure which I will be using is more of like anyone tell me, do we need key in this case when I am defining my items?
No.
Yeah, so we don't need key, right? Because we are going to just do with respect to just some particular information about my item. So it's not required to have such kind of information available. Just a plain row. I'm going to create a kind of just a model which is going to be available with respect to row wise or something. Okay, so name I given, like suppose let's say Apple, and then I will say like company or something like version. I can say version, let's say uh, I say version is right now is going on 15, and let's say the another one I will say here uh, uh, let's say something like product, or I will say the company location, or I will say a company again as a, let's say, or something, some different name, guys can kuch bhi batao, like company I given, or I
Carrier.
will say what
Carrier.
carrier. Okay, so let's
AT&T.
say
AT&T.
Barry, you are saying
AT&T. The company. AT&T.
ECMC,
No, AT&T.
ACMC,
No, TT. AT&T.
MT.
I put in the chat.
Okay, something like that. Okay, so anything like, say if I'm saying just location, okay, base location, something like US, okay, something like that. I'm just trying to give some, okay, and then I will say uh, rating of product could be like something something, let's say 4 or something, right? So these are the property I'm just going to insert now here. Okay, and it's
I
just
put in
I'm listing
the
out.
chat.
Okay, I'll just see that, and this something I will talk about. Okay, so I'm just going to put that. Okay, and then we have one plus. Again, this is going to be China. Okay, okay. Somebody you put something in the chat. Let's see what it has. A, T, and T. Okay. All right. A, T, and T. Okay, fine. So anything like, I mean, I'm just some value, nothing could be something A, C, B, whatever. Okay, something different value, or I will say here instead of that. Okay, I will see one guys. I will just say category. Okay, remove this thing. I will say it's mobile, or I will say here smart mobile. Okay, I'm just trying to create some data. That's it. So category, I will let's keep the same for all. So right now I'm just creating only 5 information. That's it. Okay, so this is how you have the data set now. Okay, so I am going to get my form table data. Again, I am going to call this. Okay, my same thing I will talk about here. Like I will say in terms of products. I give some name. I will say this is my form table data. This is my name, and I will another again. I am going to define another my table model. Okay, so I am going to define one of the model for my table. So I will say here, this is my product table. Okay, so I will say here table model. Okay, so I will refer this again table model and I will set back here. Okay, so now this is again going to take back my products, and this table model I am going to refer back to my view. Okay, so on this view, whatever file I have here, like for example table structure, this is my table definition. I have given something information here. So these are again guys, these just a property. So just have a look and just try to understand. Now this is my, and the name is products. So I'm going to give a path to products. Okay, and now shorter path I've given already name, that is fine. Okay, and then okay, this is just a standard, a class name. See, SAP have dynamic page alignment. It's just to make sure that your table and uh, item, whatever structure you have defined for dynamic page is going to be aligned here. Okay, with auto means as per the screen design, it should be going to adjust accordingly. Okay, you can in fact also use 100%. Percent is also useful because your screen wise, it may change your screen, mobile percentage make changes, your desktop changes, whatever. So auto or 100%. Either you use auto or use percentage. Don't use REM in terms of width of table and all, because REM is going to be a fixed kind of notation. Okay, now so these are just a toolbar. Okay, header toolbar. Again, every table having some kind of toolbar. I remember we have just seen an example here in a page also, right? Toolbar, just on the top, of your table, some toolbar like some kind of title you want to display. So that's kind of means the table title. That's the simple meaning of header type toolbar. Columns is going to be again aggregation. So table having these are the aggregation. Okay, header toolbar, which is going to represent anything, like you can put some kind of button here. Let's say I want to put something like after this I will use some toolbar spacer, and I am going to use some kind of feature called something called, I will put another button which is called, remember I used to use some kind of save button, right? So I will use this save button here. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to use this save button here. That's fine. Okay, like that. So you can use such kind of information to be available on top of your table. Now columns is aggregation, which will be helpful for you to design your column, how many columns you want. Okay, so remember I told you, see if you're using this kind of width Okay, if you are using the width, you should always, if you fix some kind of width, you should always use REM. So this is the REM which will be useful. And then the product, this is your title. Title means this is the text. The title means column ka title you have product. And everything, guys, I'm see, though I'm showing you right now is hard coded one, but please refer to always from where, which file I should refer this text from where. Everyone, do we need to hard code this or shall we maintain it somewhere?
I18N file.
Yes, we should always maintain it under I18N file. So though I'm right now I'm doing it here because many places I've shown you. Just for the sake of your time, we are just focusing on the major part. So, but you know, right? Whenever you write any text, be it your controller or be your view file, you should always refer from I18N file. Okay. Now see these are the again another property, right? So minimum screen width we have taken tablet, you can take it phone, you can take it mobile, you can take it desktop. So what will happen? So this is the beauty of M table, you know, responsive table, because it giving you the whole control of your, you know, UI, sorry, the table list, you know, based on different of this property, like to make it more responsive, more user suitable as per device. It's going to be look like whenever they see the application in your mobile app, desktop or laptop, they're they should not going to lose any data. Okay. Demand pop-in means like the columns which you want to run in your, let's say in the desktop, it will be available, no problem. But in mobile device, do you need to be display? Means what? Demand pop-in will help you to display those columns. Let's say you have defined 10 columns, right, which is showing it. But in mobile you don't want to show 10 columns, you want to show only 5 columns. So this is the problem, this is the property which will help you. Whichever column you will define as a demand pop in 2, so those columns will be appear as a, it will not be disappearing, it will going to be appear as a important column in your mobile devices. Okay, I mean any responsive devices this is supporting. So demand pop-in indicator, okay, this is important, this cannot be hidden or something like that. Okay, again this is for alignment. So guys, again I told you this is the properties, please go through all these things. API document may check karo. Okay, you have a lot of property available. This just wherever it is mentioned, I'm just saying there are a lot of information that you have to go and check it. Okay, now you see every columns has been designed, right? So now I had designed how many property I have maintained? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So let's make sure we have 5 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4 we have. Let me check. Okay, so 4 I had. So let's me. Okay, chalo, ठीक है, no problem. Whatever the columns we have, no problem. If you have not defined the column, it's not going to change anything. Now, after this column definition, you have items. Items means the first how this table structure work, right? You know, right? Double how it works. See, you have first table definition in the then you have defined your header. Now you have this column. So you define your column now. Now you're defining rows means items. So in UI or grid table, it's referred as a rows, but in M table, it's referred as a items. Okay, so you define table, the table toolbar, matlab header structure. Now then you define the columns, how many columns you want to show it, and then you have after each column, then you are doing the binding to your items means the rows. Okay, so remember that in M table, it's known as items, means item aggregation. But in grid table, UI table, it's known as UI, means rows, number of rows we define it. Okay, so column list item here again, and every list item having a cell. Cell means what? This block, what you see, this is known as a cell. One cell, second cell, third cell, like that. This is a cell. So row may whatever data you see is display as a cell, means cell which contains your data. Okay, so your items will have a list item which will having a cell which contains your data which you are binding it. So now I am going to see here, this is my name and this is my title is name, and I mean see you can remove it here directly, you can display as a product also. You want to display as a just a title means something will display on the top if you want to display, right? That's the reason they have mentioned as the first one, sorry, the first title, like every product is going to be first one and known as a what product we are referring to, name. Okay, next after that we have version, we have category. So I will say here, let's say my first row will be going to display as a my uh, this one as a category, and then it's going to display as a version as my second information. And then text may, again we have going to display, again see if you want to display different property to combine, right? So this is again guys, see, binding doesn't mean you can do only one, you can do multiple binding. This is called multiple binding supported. Like for example, see generally what you have seen so far right now, one binding information, right? Remember, one binding information. But give a space and you can combine it, you can combine it by different binding also available, right? For example, in our scenario right now we don't have it. If you want to maintain, of course you maintain and then you play around with. But let's say I'm going to give it like a rating information or probably a location information, which is going to be my uh, next information available. So let's say what is my first one? First name is name. Second one, I'm going to give it as a supplier. Instead supplier, I'm going to use category. Okay, and then I'm going to use a location. So this is going to be my, I will say location is my first thing. Third one, two, three, and fourth will be my kind of rating. So I'm going to, this is my, see again numbers is the rating I want to do it. Format option, so measure, see again. So this is one of the proper, one of the data type is available how you want to display your number. So in my case scenario, let's say my rating, I am showing it here, right? In this rating I'm going to display this information as my, okay, and this is going to be currency code. If I want to, suppose if I have maintained some kind of currency mode, then it could have been taken that, let's say a currency mode US, EU, or EI, Indian rupees, Ivy rupees, all these things. So if I have maintained such thing, then I could have shown this thing. But right now in our scenario, we are not actually showing, right, any kind of unit or something. We have just a small number. So will maybe we'll include in some of the topic later stage. But for now, maybe when I'm doing this formatting, formatter, or probably the topic expression binding, that time maybe I will show you all this stuff. Right now let's keep it straight for how you can form the table. So right now I have just maintained as a rating. Okay, so now see, so this is text I have given. All right, so now, okay, one more thing. Okay, let's keep it object number. I can also show you one thing here. So number may, what I will show unit, I will leave it. What I will do, I will keep it yours so that I will cover one more part along with it. So rating is my 4. Okay, so rating I have anyway given. Path is not required for currency code. And I think I don't even need for type is currency. I don't even, okay, format option is fine. Okay, rating. And this is also not required. This is fine. I'm just showing as a number. That's it. Okay, and then on top of it, if I want to do, I can do it something. Now, so this is my table structure which has been defined now. Again, anyone, do I need to make any difference, any changes again here? Is my binding correct? Anyone can, it's all fine. Can I run this? Or do I need to modify something? Quick. Oh, nobody. So my binding correct, huh? Okay, let's see. Guys, see here. My table got loaded. See, my button got loaded. My everything got loaded. But see, product, see, this is my column got loaded. But I didn't see my record. No. What mistake I'm doing? Can anybody tell me? Anyone? Come on, guys. See, this is my binding path. And this is my binding. Did anybody notice something? Come on. Ayo. This binding, remember? This, whenever you have named model, you should always pass on. If you don't have a named model, then you don't need it. But whenever you have named model, you always pass the reference to your model binding. Okay, now see, data will be loaded. Okay, I think this is the third scenario which I have discussed, and I will keep reminding you about the model. So please refer to that. Okay, now guys, you see my product has been, see it has been got, I'm going to say loaded, right, in the form of table. Got it? You understood my point? So this is how it's going to work. Now let's not make this as a default, because otherwise it's going to give you wrong information. So leave it. Okay, so because we're not this means like you are filtering the data of Apple. That's, we are not doing it that. Okay, so so guys, understood, right? So what we discussed today, we discussed about your page layout of dynamic page layout, which is the actual currently the design pattern which we are using it. I have shown you how you can various property, by the way, right? Like for example, what will happen if you expand, when, what will happen when you collapse, right? All this thing, all this stuff, right? And then I shown you the example of how you declare the filter bar, how you make use of your this SDK sample API section, and how you can convert and play around with various controls. So this is also a type of aggregation binding. Remember, this is also a same thing. Aggregation binding works with always with array data format. This is the table structure which we are doing it here on the top of it. And similar way, like whatever filter bar, of course you are seeing it, right? And definitely this filter bar, what you need to do, it's going to apply filtering on your data table, right? So obviously, right, if you are making some changes, definitely that the table, it has to be filter out whatever filter bar you are using it, right? So if you're not using it, then there's no use of filter bar, right? Filter bar cannot be used just for the view purpose. It has to be, it has to perform, right? When we are selecting some data, then what will happen, right? Whenever you are filtering anything, then what will happen, right? When you are making some kind of filter on top of it, how data will be filtered out. Okay, so this filtering property things we will be discussing in the next class. Okay, so today section we have discussed about your how it's going to be, allow for your basically in the form of your what I say, uh, aggregation binding, by the way. So then remember, I have told you something like, in case if you have something we call about expression binding, right? So expression binding means, what does it, what it does actually, right? So see, expression binding, it helps you basically, it helps you to indicate some kind of data, some kind of, right? So that's the reason I have kept here like a object list item here. If you see here, this property which I have mentioned as a in the form of your object, sorry, that number property which we have taken here, right, as a number unit or something like that. Now see, now I want to use it as a number state. So for example, I want to display these things as a part of your I would say, for example, I have here object number which I have taken as a object list item. If okay, let's see, I think this maybe apply here. Let me try. So number is one of the property we have used. Then we have number state is one of the property. I will just show you if it's, let's see if it's supported here. Number state, I hope it should not throw error. Does it showing? Number state unknown property, yeah. So okay, so this is one of the property which is not showing here. Okay, so basically what I want to show you here is that the state. So we have taken number, right? Then we have a number unit, and what will happen if we are going to display in the form of, some kind of coloring, right? This is where you need to display. So expression binding is something which will help you to identify whatever data you have mentioned, to perform something on top of your data. You may have, you want to change the coloring, you want to validate something, right? In those scenario, it will be going to be helpful. If you are not, then you may not, it's not required. Okay, so that scenario, let's say object number may, let me just quickly check, do we have any property available? Then I will just finish it up, external binding one example. Okay, object number, let me see. Okay, we have something. Okay, so object number, we have number, and then we have unit. Okay, we have something called format option. Okay, we don't have that property available here. Path and type, number, currency code. Okay, then you have a state. Okay, so something we have a state. Yeah, we can use this property. Okay, now see, I'm going to define this okay property probably here. 1 minute, but I'm making it this. One minute. Okay, now this is the parts here, and I will say state as a another one. So okay, now see, so here what I will do here, I'm going to use expression binding. So guys, expression binding is something which, if you remember last time we talked about, sorry, I have not talked about expression binding. Is something, this is not the actual data binding. This is something which will help you to manipulate some data which you are referring here. So let's say I am putting here 5. You want to do some data on in terms of let's say you have something to perform, to check your date, state of your, probably some validation. For example, you want to make some cluttering, or you want to make it something enable disable based on some data, right? So those scenarios you can do with the expression binding. So expression binding is not exactly you do binding with the data model. Basically you are going to work with the data and manipulate its appearance, or you make a reference of some other data to make it. For example, let's say if I'm using expression binding, right? So you saw one of my we have 3 filter bar, right? So let's say some of the data based on filter bar 1, I want to disable or enable my filter bars field 2. So this is where your expression binding will be helpful. You are referring some data and then you are performing some validation. It could be anything, like you want to change the display of your something, or you want to put some different format of your data. So for that we have formatter, but of course the format means how you want to display. Like suppose you want to show in green color, you want to show error color, success color, something. So I'm just showing you here right now one of the way of doing it. So expression binding starts with some, they have some certain kind of syntax. So equal sign with the dollar is to start with equal, then you have something called dollar. Okay, and then what we're going to have in is again put down your curly braces, and then you put the path to your rating. So let's say I have this rating, I'm going to put this path of my rating. Okay, and then this is going to display why it is keep throwing such error here. Expect closure bracelet. Okay, so this is, we already have it. 1 minute, what's wrong? Okay, so now let's see. Unknown property of binding, what we have, right? Something we saw. Okay, so what we have taken, object number. Okay, and object number may we have something called number we have given, right? And then we have something called state. Okay, so we have a state as a property. Okay, sorry, so we are doing in the wrong place. So state is just a property here, right? So it should be outside here, state. Okay, and then it not required here, and then it will be like this. Okay, it will be equal sign. Now it will work. Okay, fine. So now it will start with this, and then it will have your equal sign. So there are certain, remember there are certain syntax for this. So it will not looks like normal binding. Okay, it start with your first, then you put equal sign, then your dollar sign, and then you put again curly braces, and then you put your binding here. Okay, in this binding, what you do, see here, first equal sign, then dollar, then binding. Now you compare if it's equal to, 5, right? I'm doing this rating comparison. If it is equal to 5, question mark means if if the rating is equal to 5, then you show as a success rating, means green color. else, this colon means else you show as a error, means red color, something like that. So now you guys, you see how your manipulation works from the data. So this is what expression bindings, where what you are doing it, see here, the coloring got changed. Which means what? So whenever you are doing some kind of changes, right, in terms of any data, then you are going to show as a some data manipulation, right? Based on some 10 data, you want to change the coloring of it, right? You want to, let's say, based on this data, you want to, let's say, I am selecting Apple, then only I want to make this enabled. Right? So then expression binding will be helpful for you. Like rather writing the logic in the controller file, you can write this binding, such kind of binding you can do in the event here, right? Like here, for example, here, like wherever you want to perform, right? I want to perform some validation here, so I can do it from the expression binding. So expression binding will be applicable on the available data. You want to make some changes. That's it. That's the expression binding. Okay, so this is a very simple example of how you can change the coloring, some indicator, or I told you their use case can be do anything, like you based on of that you enable, disable, so hide something. So generally in the view level, if you want to perform such kind of operation, then you should always go by the expression binding. Okay, so I think till today's session we have covered the topic. So I repeat again, so today we discuss more about your layout design, how you, as an application design, we have started with respect to your dynamic page layout, how you want to design your the various type of your dynamic page property, the filter bar, the aggregation binding of your different types of controls which we have available, and of course the table part which is available. And then I've shown you expression binding example as well. And yeah, I think we've discussed many more other things also in between also, right? We go through the SDK and shown you some example, all the stuff. So I hope today's session again was more interactive and more focused on your one of the most important data binding, which is aggregation binding. Of course, I just suggested every time, please go through the data SDK, SAP UI5 SDK, learn from here. Everything what I have talked about right today and all, everything is available on your SDK. Go through your uh,
Okay.
documentation, API section, samples, demo apps, and explore it. Okay, go on the way. I have also talked about debugging right today, so you know how the you can put the debugger, you can go. This debugging things will keep going on, so no worries. But at least you got to know, right? You when you wrote any application, right? You how you want to put the debugger point, right? So how you will find the other information which is available on the left and right corner. What are the things is it is showing it, right? So this all will be showing in the runtime stage. You want to debug something, you have to always do how you find any error. You can find the console area and you can rectify. We have seen some error and all, right, in a XML file, controller file, we all rectified, right? Okay, so any question for today's session, guys? So I think we are done for today, but any question you have, please ask me and then we can wrap up. Sorry, we have taken 10-15 minutes late extra. But yeah, I mean, any question, guys? So tell me.
Hi, the global account is not working for me. I tried opening the cockpit and it's showing some error. I think it has linked.
Oh, is it? Oh, Swami? Okay,
Yeah.
guys, Nitin can help you in that. Nitin, are you there? Okay, what error you are getting? Can you just show me quickly?
Is 1 second, I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah. Try to open in your incognito because it may go to and try to open
Okay.
your trial. So better you do in incognito. Once you log in with this credential, then this will fine. So yeah, this is the one. Yes. So anybody else again facing any kind of access issue like with respect to cockpit or anything? So if you are yes, then please reach out to Nitin and I mean, of course, whatever mail comes you are receiving it, please show that. Okay. So meanwhile, anybody, any question on the topic which we discussed today? See, because see, it's going back will be very, very, very difficult. Okay, so ongoing itself, I try to cover most of the thing, whatever here and there. But still, if you have any doubt, please ask, because we have a lot of topic coming into the picture. Okay, and of course, everything will be kind of little bit repeated part, but not at the section which we discuss more when we on ongoing development, right? Topics, terminology may repeat, but not exactly in the same way, right? Log in with a different user, logged in as Arthav. You would not find any global accounts associated with your ID. Okay, contact. Did you use the cockpit ID which has been given by them?
Which one? No, I haven't make any changes there. I'm
No,
just
I
trying
mean,
to see.
okay.
Like some of us team colleague has shared this to the team, and I haven't shared that day. So we're having this ID with us, and sub account is not linked with the global account right now.
Oh, looks like your ID then is missing. Okay, probably. Okay, can you try again? I'm just sending you this one other link. Just give a try. Try to open this link. Release the okay, and paste the same thing. And now you put that. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so put your I mean, Nitin, are you there? Or otherwise, you just put me your mail ID and your P user ID. You know how to get your P user ID?
Yeah.
Okay, so you put your P user ID and email ID here, and I will pass on
User
to.
ID is that like we are getting in the SAP account. That's one.
Yeah. Like you can also find from accounts.sap.com,
Yeah.
or you can find, yeah. But the P user, you to start with a P, some 16 digit, some character will be there. You put that, and then you email ID, and then we will pass on to that. Okay.
This one, no?
Yeah. So you are this is the person you are communicating with, or is your colleague?
Which one?
I mean, okay, fine, no problem. So let me pass on this. So your email ID is
It's forwarded.
this. Yeah. Okay, good. I will inform them to give you the access. I hope everyone else having it, right? So guys, again, last question. Anyone have any doubt? So fine. So see you on Wednesday, and guys, try. Okay, I mean, try to put some time, some energy, something to in your learning journey. Okay, go through the SDK, go through, practice it. Okay, see, if you're not practicing it, you will not be confident enough. You will be theoretically knowing probably, but may not be able to confident. Okay, walkthrough is a very good tutorial. Whatever I'm explaining you, it's everything you will find there, right? Walkthrough. And even if you're trying from their referring and then you seeing my difference of my training, it will definitely going to help you a lot. But it's a continuous and consistent process. Okay, you have to maintain that consistency every day. Every day you do 3 hours with me and 2 hours with yourself, it's enough. But later on, if you do after, like, you can do it by, okay, I understood this thing, I will try my you will not get time, trust me. I mean of course, maybe you could be some exceptional example, but it's good time. I mean, you learn something. Okay, and try spend some time on learning what you are doing, going through the training, and that will help you. Okay, on this note, signing off for today. If you don't have any doubt as of now, see you all everyone on Wednesday with the new topic. Of course, like, of course, we will have the same. We will have this now going on this our application. We will be keep adding more feature. We will be keep adding more logic, and once this everything will be on the line, then we will keep going on the next topic. Okay, signing off for today. See you. Bye bye. Goodbye.
Yeah, thanks, Manu.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we will reply to them at the earliest.